Anyways, here we go. So the live is going on TikTok and over on YouTube as well. Welcome in, welcome in. We're talking Jesus and Paul as we normally do. Gospels, epistles, early church fathers, ancient historians, ancient Greeks, ancient Romans. I'll even talk Book of Mormon, Quran, or the Old Testament if you really want to. But let's try to stick to the New Testament, not the theological stuff, not the supernatural stuff, not the moralistic implications of today's Christianity. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whether or not Jesus or Paul existed 2,000 years ago. If you think that they did, if you've got evidence to show that they did exist 2,000 years ago, come on up. I want to hear from you. Again, nice to see you. Yes, it is. But the request button should be somewhere about there or down there here on TikTok. If you're over on YouTube, you can join by clicking the link that is provided in the chat or on the profile. It's all over the place. Come on up. If you've got evidence for Jesus or Paul, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. So, yeah, and please no shroud. Please, no shroud. Let me check really fast the chat over here on TikTok. Let's see. We got Hetty already says first. Demetrio says second. What else have we got? Josh Arcane says fourth. Anyways, a cowboy hat kind of day. It is a cowboy hat kind of day. It's a cowboy hat kind of day. Apollon says definitely not really late. I'm not that late today. That's how that works. Happy tacoist of the Tuesdays. Off to the cesspool. Oh, yes. Well, thank you so much to the YouTube mods, because the YouTube mods are fighting the good fight. That is, it's pretty intense over there. I'm not going to lie. It is pretty intense. All right. Nobody says, is the shroud your Achilles heel? No. I mean, no. It's not. Is it something that I would like to not have to deal with? Yeah, because the shroud is just random BS. There's Ace saying peekaboo. Welcome in. I don't think it's a mods only show, but for some reason it's pretty quiet over there. It's pretty quiet on YouTube, which is hey, look, I'm fine. I'm fine with that as well. Let's see. Again, if you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Jan is like, he's never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. Paul says, you're going to jinx it. No. Ah, damn it. Look, okay. What was the... Homer dropped his stone. Okay. I don't know what that comment is on YouTube, but that comment's technically benign. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it means, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's technically fine. so weird. Okay. Let's see. Someone asked on TikTok, are you atheist? Are you atheist? Are you atheist? That's 3 times. Well, come on up and we'll have a conversation about the topic. Let's try having a conversation about the topic. Let's try that. Brian says, what are we going to do now to all those demon-crats that were at Epstein's participating, ? Period. I don't know. Teach them grammar? Spelling? Let's try that. Brad King Me over on YouTube says, oh, hi. Oh, hi. The quiet before the shitstorm. Let's play. Hey, do we have anybody who is giving any kind of evidence for Jesus or Paul? If you think that Jesus or Paul existed, come on up. Look, all I'm saying is that I have not heard any evidence for Jesus or Paul that could not be very quickly dismissed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Gloria Godfrey says, I heard you live in North Texas. Laughing face. What does that even mean? What's with the laughing? I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see. I'm over here, and it's my birthday. Ayo! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! That is a birthday for Pixie's Place. Pixie's Place. She's turning 45. 45 there for Pixie's Place. Over on YouTube, someone said, do you sit around all day and try to prove this? Do you have a life? Yes. Yes. You just described it. I sit around all day and try to prove this. So there you go. Avatar 8 says, "Why do you care if why do Christians care if you believe it or not?" Oh, I have no idea. No idea. I don't know. They tend to have this thing called they get wrapped up in it. It's called the Great Commission. And they can't fathom the idea of someone knowing that Jesus and Paul didn't exist, and they're like, "Oh, but I think that they did exist." Well, unfortunately, they didn't. And unless you've got any evidence, I'd like to hear it if you got it. If you're over on YouTube, come over to TikTok. That's how I take guests. If you're like, "Hey, I don't want to go over to TikTok whatsoever," well, you can send a super chat. If you send a super chat, I will read it and I will respond there on YouTube. But if you wanted to come up, you can either hop onto TikTok and search Christ Before Jesus. That's the name of the profile. Or you can click the link that's in the chat or on the YouTube profile. Let's see here. We've got somebody who's coming up here. Nobody is the username. Nobody. What you got?
So I'm a former atheist. Can you convince me to return back to atheism?
Why would I care about that?
So then why should a Christian care about returning you back to Christianity?
I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about
You
history.
literally are Jesus and Paul is Christianity. Try again.
Don't give a shit. There are supposed to be two people in history, and I'm talking about history.
Well, you're failing at doing your job and doing the atheist Great Commission by converting a Christian
I'm
back
not
to
an
atheism.
atheist.
Well, by default, if Jesus and Paul never existed, then therefore you're an atheist. Try
That's
again.
not what atheist means.
That's literally what atheism means.
No, that's what mythicism means. Congratulations, you're stupid in the English language. Do you have anything else?
Well, your wife's a cunt. How about that?
Huh,
What about
that
it?
was a dick thing to say.
Oh, well, no, that's not a claim. That's a fact.
Oh, okay. You kiss your dad with that mouth?
I kiss your mother with this mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You like dead people? My mom is very much alive. We're moving on. Arise, what's going on?
Oh no, I just kicked back and enjoying some of God's giggle grass.
What?
You know, puff, puff, pass. Don't worry, I'm not going to share with you because I don't think you'd want it. But either way, the whole Jesus and Paul thing, he said never existed. Funny thing is, you, me, nobody could prove or disprove that they did or didn't exist.
Sure we can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, we can.
Nobody can. Were you here there? Were you here
That's
back
not
then?
how we can prove whether or not someone existed. Were you there when
You know how
Barack
many
Obama was
people
born?
have lived that ain't on paper? A lot of people have lived that ain't on paper.
Cool.
So,
Well,
you can't
Jesus
really
is
prove
on
that he
paper, and that's
wasn't.
how we can decide whether or not this person actually lived, is based off of whether or not that paper contains something that lines up with history or lines up with itself.
Well, the
Let me
Bible
ask you a
does not
question.
line up
If I
with
told
any
you a
other
story about
history.
somebody who was born, and then I also told you that they were born 10 years after they were born, would that make a lot of sense?
No, not really.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that the natural story, as in someone being born, that's not even a supernatural claim, that's just a natural claim that somebody's born. The fact that the natural story of Jesus has a contradiction in the New Testament when it presents that he is born in Matthew, but then presents in Luke that he was born 10 years later minimum, that means that even the natural Jesus that's presented by the New Testament definitely did not exist, even by technicality. Did not exist because it's trying to present a story that doesn't make any physical sense.
I get that. Like, I don't think Jesus was actually the son of a God that I don't believe
I didn't
in.
say anything about God or anything about his like supernatural claims.
That walking around by the name of Jesus.
Cool.
Like, yada, yada,
Again, what I'm saying is that the New Testament is the paper that this Jesus character exists on, and we can examine the contents of that paper and see that it has a story that you admitted wouldn't make any sense. So therefore, he did not exist the way that that paper is presenting him. That's my point.
I get that, but even like the Latin the Romans Latin written deals about their own history. There's plenty of other people's history that say that's not how it happened.
Okay. Like what kind of What kind of history would you be referring to?
Like their battle with Carthage. A lot of
The
their
what?
battles, one way says it went one way, the other say it went this way.
Awesome.
And
So what do
obviously
you have for
agree.
Jesus? That's what we're asking here.
I'm just saying, like,
What
if
is this guy talking
the
about?
deal could be the same with that, it's the same thing with Jesus stuff. Like, the Bible says
No,
that,
what evidence are you pointing to for that statement?
that even though it's provable to say that didn't happen, it's not doesn't mean that.
I'm done with that guy. All right, Hardeep Singh?
I have no idea what he was talking about.
What I'm talking about or what the other guy was talking about? Oh, and then he left. that was weird.
Y se marchó y a su barco le llamó Libertad.
I didn't even really talk to that guy.
Flawless victory.
That was really, really strange. I have no idea. All right. So if you've got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, I want to hear from you. That was weird. That was really strange. I don't even know where that guy was going. All right. This person's been requesting up here. Hey, S2K Dreams, what you got?
Hey, what's up, Jaron? I just want to ask you real quick, what the order you think the Gospels were all written in?
Which Gospels? Just the canonical ones?
Yeah.
The order: Mark, Matthew, Luke, John.
Mark, Matthew, Luke, John. Okay, I'm only asking. I was watching Joel's live a couple weeks ago. In between the two of you guys, I finally was inspired to actually
Look into it.
read the New Testament. Yeah. I was raised Catholic. I've never actually read the Bible, like whole back and front,
That's a terrible Catholic.
I know. And just reading Matthew, I feel like it's just like Spark Notes. You know what I mean? But it's like at the beginning of the book. So I was just kind of confused about like what the order this was all written in.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. Now, Heady Artist there in the chat there on TikTok, he says, I think Mark, Luke, Matthew, John is the way to do it. But you could argue either way, I'd say, but I mean, it just kind of depends.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask you. That's it. Appreciate it. I'm gonna continue to read this. It's kind of boring, but
Yeah, well, and that's the Bible for you. There's not a lot of fun stuff in there.
Yeah. Okay, appreciate it.
All right, take it easy. If anybody's got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, I want to hear from you. Look, they're not sending their best. That's all I'm saying. That's all that I am saying. If you think that Jesus or Paul existed, the request button should be right here on TikTok or down there. If you're on YouTube, you can either request up on TikTok. That's how I take guests. But you can click the little link there in the chat or search for Christ Before Jesus on TikTok and request up, and I'll have a conversation with you. Not afraid, not worried. Or you can send a super chat, and I will read it there if you don't have a TikTok or don't want to download it or something like that. I'll read it. I promise. Promise you I will read it. I'll get to it. Let's see. But we have the meat. Yes, we do have the meat. We do have it.
Arby's, we have the meat.
Addison Hensley says, so what are you saying? I'm saying that Jesus and Paul never existed, like the natural Jesus and Paul. He will read it. Yeah. Yes. And that's coming from Queen La Doctora Jim, who had me read. Please don't make me read ridiculous things on the super chat, but I promise you I will read it. Please. Please. Let's see. Barbie says, hey, bud, it starts with salvation. Started your word with a lowercase letter. That's kind of weird. Believing Jesus is Lord and Savior through faith. Why? Anything. Man, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Let's see. JJJDJLJ says the letters of Paul, the apostle, written within a few decades of Jesus. Well, I want to hear about that. You talking about the flesh? Yep. Are you for real? Yep. Even if he was, which I believe he is, would you like what he stood for? Nope. The blacks around. I don't even know what that means. Here, this is what we're gonna do there, JJ. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and just mute you. You can't comment anymore on TikTok because you just keep seeming to just kind of say stuff without actually backing it up. But I will send you an invite to come up. I'd like to talk to you if I can. You can request up. I'd love to have a conversation with you. We got Cody Cold. Cody Cold coming up. How do you call in? Someone asked over on YouTube. Click the link there in the chat or on the YouTube profile, or go over to TikTok and search for Christ Before Jesus. That's how I take gas. If you don't want to join up on TikTok or download TikTok or anything like that, you can send a super chat there on YouTube and I will read it. I promise. We got Cody Cold. Cody Cold, what you got?
Hey, what's up? I just got a question.
Yep.
You say like Jesus and Paul didn't exist.
Yes.
Like a question for you, I guess, is do you believe like because they didn't exist, Christianity really don't exist or something?
You mean like, do I believe that it's wrong? Is that what you're saying?
No, like if Jesus didn't exist or Paul, is Christianity, if they're not real, is what you're saying? Is Christianity real?
What do you mean real? Like truthful, accurate, or like an actual thing, like a religion?
Well, where does Christianity come from?
Christianity was a mystery cult that goes back to 1st century BCE, possibly with its roots about 300 BCE.
From who? From where?
Ptolemy the First Soter brought a statue of Serapis down from Sinope in Asia Minor down to Alexandria. They started worshiping it.
What is it? Oh,
Serapis? Like a syncretic god. It's a Greco-Egyptian god.
A Serapis.
Serapis.
And that's where Christianity came from?
Yeah, Christianity is like an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot. It's just the evolution of thought from mystery cults.
So the seraphim, whatever.
No.
What'd you say?
Serapis.
Serapis? You're saying that's like Christ?
I mean, kinda. Christ is a title. It means anointed, and it applied to different men and gods. It's a Greek word.
Like a title.
Mm-hmm.
Like for a king or something. A god.
It could be, yeah, king or a god. Yep.
What did so like did we come from that God that where you say Christianity came from?
What do you mean we come from? What are you talking about?
Well, like if like I'm confused. Like why would human race or something feel like they came from a god named what'd you say, seraphim?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. How many bowls deep are you?
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. If you don't believe like Jesus or Christianity didn't come from Jesus, like Jesus Christ.
No. Okay. Not. I'm not alert enough to have a conversation with that guy unless I fall asleep. That's Havar. Are you there? Is it Havar or Javar? Oh, that's Javar. Is that how do I pronounce that there? I sent you an invite to unmute there. You there? There you go.
Oh, it's pronounced Javar.
Javar. Okay. Oh, one
I
second.
just wanted to know, like, even if you're not a believer, like, how could you not like what he stood for? Like, that's just my question.
Well, I don't think that Jesus existed, first of all. But I mean, even if he did,
Okay, I get that part, but how could you not like what it stood for?
I mean, he said that he came not to bring peace, but a sword. He wanted to divide father from son, mother from daughter. He came to set the world on fire, is what he said. And he wished that it was already burning.
With basic understanding.
Yeah.
You're reading that with basic understanding.
Yeah.
Like if you go deeper into the word.
Well, when he calls a
like,
Canaanite woman a dog and
those are
refuses to
metaphors.
help her specifically because of the fact that she's the wrong ethnicity, I don't know if there's really any other way to take that. I mean, he literally says that he came for the lost sheep of Israel and refuses to even listen or respond to a woman who's a Canaanite because she's not the right type of ethnicity. So Yeah, and then he calls her a dog. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of spiritual eyes I need to be seeing that through, but that's pretty fucking
I
racist.
ain't say no spiritual eyes, bro. Like, nah.
Yeah, man.
Very
Well, it's
understanding
still
way
it
off of that.
doesn't matter what you're trying to say here. That's racist, and we should not be living like that person.
How you gonna say it don't matter what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're understanding.
Because Jesus in the Bible is racist, and we shouldn't live like
You're
him.
misunderstanding the book, but like giving like your false,
What misunderstanding
false
of calling
knowledge.
a woman a dog and not responding to her pleas for help
If
because
I gotta
she's not the
explain
right
that to you, bro,
ethnicity?
you gotta
Yes.
read it again.
Please.
If I gotta explain that to you, bro, you gotta read it
Please.
again.
Are you even familiar with the
Well,
story?
I'm not here to explain. I just had a question.
Cool. Well, I
ain't here to
answered it.
explain that. I
Jesus
just
is
had a question.
racist, and if you follow the teachings of Jesus to a T, you're a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, again, I ain't here to argue with you. I'm done.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no argument to be made about that.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Go read the Bible, like, bro. Go read
That's
the Bible.
where I read that
That's
he's a
all I
racist
had to
piece of
say.
shit. Do you
That's
have
all I had
anything
to
else?
say, bro. Okay. Yeah, I'm not. You get me up off.
All right, cool. Say hello to your mom for me. It's been a while since I've been with her. All right. Yeah. So I don't talk about the teachings of Jesus because that's just not, I don't really care that much about them. They're not good, but nevertheless, I don't really care because if the guy didn't exist to say them, I don't care what he said or is said to have said. What's going on? Aiden Pujalis?
Adon.
Shit. Adon.
How you doing, boss?
There we go. Adon.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Before we get to our conversation, I did want to get to some super chats really fast. Oh my God. So Zeno Lapoudre says, his a $5 super chat said, "This is just a test. Long live the Queen Esquifis. This is my first time sending one of these. Oh, Ghost, sure. As far as the Knicks go, go Spurs, Ave Latras. Yes, absolutely. And then you had it. Adon Rodriguez for $5. It was you. Says it's impossible for the Bible to be worshiping that statute. I think you meant statue. Do you mean statue? Did you mean statue?
Nah, that ain't me, bro.
That's not you.
That
it's
ain't
just
me.
another person named Adon.
Nah. Yeah, that's
What are
crazy,
the odds?
Bro. Yeah, nah, that ain't me.
What are the odds? Same spelling and everything.
Yeah,
I've never
nah,
seen that name
that's
before, and
crazy.
now we have two of them. Okay,
So yo, I've never met nobody else with it.
that's pretty dope, actually. Okay,
That's the first time.
It says it's impossible for the people to be worshiping that statue when the Bible clearly states worshiping statues is a grave sin. Well, by the time that Christianity mixed with Judaism, or starts incorporating a lot of Jewish thought into their teachings, they weren't worshiping the statue anymore. So that's a no. When we think of early Christianity, we tend to think of the Christians who have these gospels or these letters of Paul and stuff like that. This would be 2nd century Christianity. First century Christianity, 1st century BCE Christianity, or possibly even before that, looked very different and didn't have those stories. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yes, Adon Rodriguez, not Adon Pujalis, I think. But yeah, it's just a different time frame. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. But anyways, Adon, who's here on TikTok, what you got for us?
Nah, I was just I'm interested in like what's your theology, what you believe in, since you don't believe Jesus actually existed. And I heard you talking about Jesus calling a woman a dog. He never actually called her a dog. You're referring to Matthew 15, verse 21 to 28, I believe, where he was actually speaking to his disciples. He wasn't speaking to the Canaan woman or the Canaan.
No, he was explicitly talking to the woman. What are you talking about?
No, he was speaking to his disciples. I could read the verse
right here. He did not
says,
answer her at all, and his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." He answered, "I was only sent for the lost sheep of Israel." That's what he says to the disciples. But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered, in other words, answered her, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, because they're in the middle of a conversation, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." So no, you're incorrect. He did not say dogs to the disciples. He legitimately said that to her. He literally said that to her. in an answer to her asking for help. So no, you are demonstrably wrong. We just read the Bible.
All right, but even so, he still
Can you admit that you were
still
wrong on
healed
that?
her daughter, though. Okay, I do admit I was wrong with that. I misinterpreted. You got that? I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. But that's still not him calling her a dog. So when he refers to, he's talking about he came to the law. He originally was sent to the original law.
Yeah, and she's not part of that, right?
The Jews.
So
correct.
she's not, yeah. So in other words, it's not fair to take the children's food. In other words, the food that's supposed to be for the lost sheep of Israel, right up here that he sent for, and throw it to the what? To the dogs.
To the dogs.
Yeah. So in other words, anybody who's not part of the lost sheep of Israel is a dog.
Is it not good to take children's bread and throw it to the little dogs? Okay, yeah, but he's speaking metaphorically. He's not,
yeah, well, she's not actually a dog. Like, of course, it's a metaphor. Whenever you call somebody a bitch, do you think that they're actually a female dog?
But he was asking her a question.
He wasn't asking her a question. Where does he ask a question?
He's asking her, is it wrong for me to spread my Jewish religions to somebody who's not Jewish?
In other words, and what is, what does he call the people who are not wrong? What does he call the people? No, so first of all,
because he was there to
first of all, that's not a question. It's not a question, first of all. Secondly, what does he call the people who are not Jewish? What does he refer to them as?
He refers to them as dogs.
Oh, there it is, everybody.
Well, he's not calling them dogs.
You got it, my friend. Listen time. Jesus is racist. You are right. If he's referring to somebody as a dog, if he's referring,
I don't know what that was. Oh, okay. No, somebody else.
So let me ask you this. So would a racist person help out somebody he's racist? So
once they recognize that they are less than and refer to themselves as dogs, maybe. Once they say, hey, I am less than you and I am a dog. And that's exactly what ends up happening. Jesus doesn't do anything. Listen. Jesus doesn't do anything until after she says, yes, Lord. Yet even the dogs, she refers to herself as a dog in this particular case that he set up, this metaphor that he set up. She is living within and acknowledging that she is a dog, eating the crumbs that fall from their master's table, and then he helps her. He helps her only once she acknowledges that his racist trope is actually what she is. Once she says, you know what, I am a dog, he goes, okay, now I'll help you. Now that you have completely showed yourself to be subservient and give in to my racist trope. There you go. I mean, I'm sure that like if some guy back in like the fucking like 1800s or something like that, who was racist against black people, if he called them dogs or something like that, if they started barking or something like that, or acted like dogs or something to try to grovel or to try to show themselves to actually be less than, he might throw them money or something. Like, yeah, that's still hella racist, dude. Like, that's how that works. Like, giving into the racist trope that someone just like gave you to your face is not suddenly them being nice because they're not racist. It's them accepting the fact that you like the fact that that person's racist. You're accepting that.
No, I believe he was asking her.
There's no question.
Because his disciples at the time.
There's no question. There's no question here, dude. Where's the question? Yes. Where?
Is it not wrong for me to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs? That's a question. Well, that's a metaphorical question.
You're reading from a version of the Bible that frames it as a question or something. But regardless, he's calling her a dog. I don't care what you really have to say here because he calls her a dog, and you literally admitted.
He's calling her a Gentile.
Is he calling the Gentiles dogs? Is he calling the Gentiles dogs? Yes or no? Okay, so in other words, listen. So that means Jesus is referring to anybody outside of his race or ethnicity is a dog, correct? In this particular instance?
Metaphorically, yes.
So that's what he's referring to. Listen. I'm going to ask a yes or no question. You are not reading the Bible correctly. He does not say this to the disciples. He says this to the woman, and you know this. We've already read this verse. You are being intellectually dishonest. And
no, because
so listen.
because even
I
if
am
you
going
go
to ask
down,
you a yes or
it
no
says
question.
then Jesus answered
Okay.
and said to her.
Answered her because she spoke before he answers, correct? Correct? Does she say something before he answers?
Who was he speaking to before he answered the first
Listen,
time? To his disciples,
listen.
correct?
I'm not talking about
So
this.
when he answered the
Okay,
first time,
listen,
he was
listen,
speaking to his.
listen, you racist piece of shit. Listen. This says right here, when he's talking about the food being thrown to the dogs, he's not talking to the disciples anymore. He is talking
Who
to
was he
her.
speaking to
Listen,
before that? The
listen,
disciples,
listen,
right?
listen. He's already answered them. This is the answer to the disciples. The disciples said, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting at us." And he answers, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." That's his response to the disciples. But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered her, "It is not fair to ask or to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, because they're in the middle of a conversation here. This is the middle of a conversation. I don't know if you're capable of reading, but in no way, shape, or form does he say that to the disciples. He says it to her. And in no way, shape, or form does a metaphor for a dog, of a dog being used for anybody outside of your ethnicity make you any less racist. So, that being said, if you've got any other points for Jesus or Paul, I'd like to get to those. I would love to get to those if you have anything else. And he didn't, because he ran, because he's a little bitch. Sorry. We've got Thomas coming up. Thomas. What's going on, Thomas?
Hi. Hi, everyone.
You got any evidence for Jesus or Paul?
Yeah, what kind of evidence do you need?
What you got?
Historically.
Yeah, that'd be nice. As opposed to what?
Historically, the apostles.
Like metaphorical
the
evidence?
Councils, you know that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All of that are like evidence for Jesus' existence. About apostolic succession, you know that?
Oh, okay. And what's the evidence that the disciples lived? Especially Peter?
The apostolic succession. Like every church, all church have like the apostolic succession until.
Sweet. So what's the evidence that they actually go all the way back to Jesus instead of just a claim? Yeah. Like technically speaking, the Mormons also have apostolic succession because John the Baptist shows up and talks to Joseph Smith. We also have the Holy Ghost, Jesus, and God all talk to Joseph Smith. Different angels talk to Joseph Smith. So what's your evidence that this is not just a claim from different churches and they actually have apostolic succession?
Yeah, we have like the real, like this is not revelation.
We have
like,
what? What did you say?
For example, we have the real person, like for example, John or Mark, for example, for Coptic. Mark, yeah.
Okay. What's the evidence that they have any kind of connection to that?
Yeah, because of until that like in 3:25 they have a council, yeah. So like even if so like we have historical evidence, like too many councils between until now. The Catholics have 7 councils.
Okay, I don't care about just show me the evidence that they have any kind of connection to this disciple. Show me the disciples at all, or the early apostles, their existence. What evidence do we have that they actually existed?
Yeah. For example, for Coptic, after Mark, you know, like
you say after Mark,
a real person,
is that what you said?
like, a real person is Mark. There is a pope. Yeah, that pope lived for some time.
I apologize, man. I think it might just be a little bit of a language barrier. I'm asking you for the evidence of, like, Mark. Give me the evidence that Mark existed.
The history of the church.
Okay, so a late story? Just a story later on?
Yeah, historical fact.
What's the evidence that that story is true?
History.
What history?
Because
What?
like it is
Just
not
the claim from the church? They just said something and it's true because they said it?
no, not only the church, the Coptic church, but other churches also know that.
Okay, well, where's their
Romans
evidence
know
for
that
this?
about- Yeah, all churches know that.
I don't care. I don't care.
all
What
churches
evidence do we have?
those fathers. Historical evidence.
Like
because
what
between
historical evidence?
all
Show me the
churches-
what historical evidence are you talking about? Just a church saying something doesn't mean anything. The Mormons say all kinds of shit.
The church is not like in one country, yeah, in
That
Rome,
doesn't
you
mean
have
anything.
one church.
That literally means
In,
nothing.
Syria, you
Give
have
me
one
evidence give me evidence that Mark existed. You're just kind of saying, "Oh, a church over
What
here
kind of
says something and
evidence do
another
you-
church says that they're correct." Okay. What's the evidence that Mark even existed over in Egypt or anything?
Yeah, because even if you don't believe that, the
I don't.
existence of Mark, yeah, but the next popes after, because Christianity is spread without someone there. Do you think that? You don't think that, yeah? And
I
the
think
other
Christianity
church
was there a long
that.
time before Mark, considering the fact that we have a cup that dates to the 1st century BCE that says through Chrestos the magician. And also, Epiphanius and Eusebius said that the first Christian monks were the Therapeutai, which Philo of Alexandria, also in Egypt, mentioned in about 20. So that's well before Mark showing up. So no, man. Like, the churches in Egypt claim that they start Christianity from Mark, but there's no evidence that Mark even existed, let alone was in Egypt to start it. Christianity has been in Egypt before Mark was even a thought.
Okay, but Mark is a disciple of Peter,
Jesus Christ.
it is one of the gospel writers. So you
No,
don't think,
there's no evidence whatsoever that Mark was written by Mark. It never says anywhere in the text, "My name is Mark."
Yeah, because they are humble, in all
Because
books,
they're
you can find
humble.
the writer's name, yeah, yeah, because every
Then how would we know who
guy
wrote it?
Who needs?
Then how would we know who wrote it if they didn't put their names in there because they're just
the church know it.
kind of a
The
humble
church know
guy?
it.
What?
The church know it.
Oh, the church
you write
knew it. The church knew
yeah.
it because they're humble, but they didn't put it in there because they're humble.
No, it is
The church, in other words, the only people who even know this person exists all know that he wrote it because he's a humble guy.
No, okay.
What?
Like
there's only the 100% of the people who even think he exists all know that he wrote that book because he's humble.
No. The church know it. It is from Mark because he sent them or write them.
No,
But
no,
he didn't
no.
put
Where's the
his name
evidence that he
because
wrote
of
it?
his humble,
Where is the evidence
character.
he wrote it? Like, give me the evidence that he wrote it, man. Stop
For
just
example,
saying,
like
"Oh,
you-
he wrote it."
I
No,
write-
don't
I
tell me
write
how
a
you know
book.
this.
For example, I write a book. I write a gospel. Then I send
Okay.
it to someone.
Okay, what is your evidence
They
that
know-
Mark
they know I
sent
send
it
it,
to
yeah.
them? What is
Someone
your
said
what is your evidence that Mark sent it to them?
Because the people who receive that letter, they know it
Who?
is from Mark. Yeah?
Who?
Because Mark sent.
Who
sent
received it?
for them.
Who received it?
I don't know. Actually.
Yeah, it almost sounds like they're just kind of making shit up, and you just kind of
but
believed
the
it.
history it is like that because when Paul write to Corinthians, the Corinthians know, yeah, the church Corinthians, they know it is. From
Oh
Paul.
my God! All right, does
And they
anybody
take it.
have any? Someone come up and help your boy. Someone come up and help this man explain the origins of the Gospels to somebody who is asking for evidence. Surely, somewhere out there, in the 700 people on YouTube and the 265 people here on TikTok, someone's got some evidence for who writes the Gospels. Someone's got it. Someone's has to get it.
Okay. Yeah. My
Okay.
idea is
Hold up. I
they
think you
write
might.
it,
I think you might have some help here, Saint. Are you here to help your Christian brother Thomas?
Oh, I was here to address the background.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Thomas, for coming up. I'm losing brain cells. Saint. Anyways, what you got?
When you say that Jesus and Paul never existed, do you mean that there's no evidence, or that you just what does that mean?
Well, I haven't found any convincing evidence whatsoever that Jesus, even the natural Jesus presented by the New Testament, existed. It's technically impossible, seeing as it contradicts itself, but whatever. Anyways, you got any evidence for the guy?
Jesus and Paul, right?
Either one. Do you think that there's historical evidence for Paul?
Yeah, so whatever you say.
Wait, hold up, really quick. Do you think we have historical evidence for Paul?
What do you mean by historical evidence?
I mean, do you think that people who lived around Paul's time and everything like that, like actually talked about him and stuff like that, whether it be Christian or non-Christian, that kind of thing? You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What is one person or text outside of Christianity that mentions Paul?
You just said in Christianity or outside of Christianity. Now you're going to change the criteria?
Okay. Name me a Christian who says they know Paul.
Peter.
Peter. Where does Peter say that?
I think it's in 2 Peter.
He doesn't say that he knows Paul.
Okay, let's see.
Also, do you think that Acts is correct?
Yep.
Acts 4:13 says Peter is illiterate.
Okay. 2 Peter 3:15, and count the patience of our Lord as salvation, just as our beloved brother Paul also wrote to you according to the wisdom given to him.
Okay. So he doesn't say you know him. Also, 2 Peter is not even considered.
Them, then?
Say what?
How does he know that Paul wrote to them?
Do you know that Paul wrote to them?
Yes.
Did you know Paul?
What do you mean by know Paul?
Know them personally.
Not in that sense. If you're talking about like that I meet Paul, no.
Sweet. So Peter doesn't say that, and also Peter is illiterate according to Acts 4:13. So he didn't write shit.
Get to that. We can get to that secondly, but according to this, does he know Paul?
No. Also, he's illiterate, so he didn't even write it.
If I show you where Paul met Peter, then what?
There's no mention of Paul meeting Peter within any kind of text that shows that this is a true thing, unless you're just assuming that Paul is real. We're trying to prove whether or not Paul is real. Going to a Pauline epistle is not going to do anything. Also, I'd like to point out right here.
So there's basically nothing that can actually convince you. That's why I asked, what's your
Sweet.
standard? What does you mean?
As they looked on Peter and John so fearlessly. Hey, no, listen, we're reading from the Bible. As they looked on Peter and John so fearlessly outspoken, and also discovered that they were illiterate persons, untrained in the schools, they were surprised, and now they recognize them as having been with Jesus. Because Acts says that Peter and John were illiterate. So how is Peter writing? And how is Peter writing in Greek, mind you, because he's an Aramaic-speaking person? And, by the way, how does he write as two different people, seeing as even Christian scholars acknowledge that 2 Peter is not something that is written by the same author as 1 Peter?
So you don't want to have a conversation?
Well, I'm trying to get you to show me some evidence of someone who says, I know Paul.
I just did.
You did not.
How does he know that Paul wrote to them then?
You know that Paul wrote to them, but you didn't know Paul personally, did you?
How did he know it? Answer that question. How did he know it?
Do you really want the answer to that?
Yeah.
2 Peter is not written by Peter. Even Christian scholars acknowledge it. Listen. Yes, I am answering it.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't.
I'm answering it, but you're going to have to shut the fuck up for 10 seconds to actually hear it. So listen. Okay, you're muted. 2 Peter, even by Christian scholars' standards, is not written by the same author. It is something later written by someone who knew of Paul, like knew that Paul had written letters, or was a Christian who believed that Paul was a real person who wrote letters. The only reason that Paul is mentioned in 2 Peter is because it is a late text. It is not written by Peter. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
About that, we'll start there.
Say what?
Yeah, how you know it's not written by Peter?
So first of all, Acts says that they're illiterate. Peter and John are illiterate according to Acts. So they're definitely not writing, and not writing in a language that they didn't even speak.
Do you not understand that?
Do you not think that Acts is correct when Acts says this? Is Acts incorrect?
It is correct.
Oh, it
I'm
is.
saying that
So
a
they are
secondary
illiterate, and
claim.
they're capable of writing not just a letter, but two
gosh.
letters in a different
So you're not
language
gonna
than
get
what
over
they
this.
speak.
Okay. So whenever it says that they're illiterate, it's talking about they have not been formally trained by a scholar.
What does illiterate
That's what that
mean?
means. In that context, it means that they were not formally trained by a scholar.
Formally trained by a scholar? What
Yes,
is a
that's literally
scholar
what it
back
means.
then? The fuck are you talking about? No, it means that they're illiterate because the Greek
trained
word means
people, They were
illiterate.
not formally trained by a scholar. That's literally what that means.
That's how you learn how to read or write, dipshit. Like, how do you
Not
think?
in that day. I'm
Yes.
saying in
How
that
do you
day,
think
an
that you learned
illiterate
how to
person-
read or write back then?
Oh my gosh.
How do you think that
In
you learned how to read or
day,
write?
By being trained by somebody.
Yeah, and if they weren't trained by somebody, then they
Exactly.
didn't know how
So
to
an
read or
illiterate
write.
person- an
Yeah,
illiterate
there we
person
go.
in that day
So in other words,
was
you
someone who
had
was not
you
trained.
just admitted that you
You
had
don't
to be
even know
trained
this.
by
This is the
someone
crazy
in
thing.
order to be in order to be literate, and they
Yes,
weren't
in
trained
that
by
context, that's
someone,
what it
so they're
means.
illiterate.
Who were they trained by?
They weren't because they're illiterate.
Exactly. That's my point.
Exactly, which
You don't
means they
even know
can't
this.
read or write.
No, that's not what that means. Not in that
Yes,
context.
that's what the
my
word
gosh.
illiterate
You
means,
don't-
dude.
You literally don't know nothing. That's the crazy thing.
Okay, what does illiterate mean?
In that context?
In this context, and
Matter
in
of fact, how about
literally
this?
every context of the word
How about
illiterate.
this? Let's see. So let's go to what chapter is that again? Book
This is chapter 4 of Acts, verse 13.
Okay, let's do this. Since you just for some reason want to stick on this point. Acts 4 verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yada yada yada. This actually says unschooled, by the way, in the Greek.
That means illiterate. It means they didn't go to school, which is where you learn to read or
Oh
write.
my
dipshit.
gosh. Oh my goodness.
It's almost like you don't know how
You're literally
words work.
proving- You're literally proving my point.
That they can't read or write? Okay.
That they were not formally trained.
Which means they can't read or write.
No, that doesn't mean that. It means they were not.
Yep.
Not formally
Where do you
trained by
think
a
that you
scholar.
learned how to read or write back then? You think they just learned it at home? You think that back
They
then,
had
when
learned by
only
somebody
3 to
else.
5% of the population of the entire Roman Empire was capable of reading or writing, that people just learned how to do it at home when they're fishermen?
You're literally proving my point. I don't think you understand.
That means that they can't read or write, dude. That's what that means. The fact that they haven't
it
been to a
doesn't.
school
For one-
means that they
for one,
can't
if
read
you
or
actually
write.
go to the, if you actually go to the Greek, it just means unschooled.
No, actually, it doesn't.
So your
in
translation,
the no,
it
in the
literally-
direct
okay, go pull it up.
translation in Greek, it's agrammatoi, which means illiterate. They are capable,
No, it doesn't.
unwrite. So in other words,
No,
they
it
are not
doesn't.
capable of writing. This is the Greek for verse
I'm
13.
literally looking at the Greek as we speak. It literally says unschooled.
Yeah, no. This
on
this
the
literally
word.
means the word for grammar,
the
which
word.
means they can't use grammar. They can't write.
Yeah, click the word.
You
word
can't
for the Greek.
click the word, dude. This is just a Greek.
Exactly.
This is the actual Greek. So no.
Well, I'm also
Unfortunately,
it says unschooled. And then when you
unfortunately,
go to
you're
the-
reading
when you
from like
click on
some
the
weird
word, it has
Strong's
a
concordance or
variety of
something like that. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Bible. Hub.
It
We're
means
talking
they
about weird
didn't go
Strong's
to the
concordance.
school, and that's where you would go to learn how to
Agreed.
read or
That
write.
Does not that does not necessitate they don't know how to read or
Yes.
write.
Yes. Where do
All it
you
means is that
think
they're not
where do you
trained.
think you learned to read or write, especially in Greek back then? Do you
have
think
to
an
be trained.
Aramaic
That
speaking
doesn't
do
mean
you
that they
think
were not-
listen,
Oh my goodness.
do you think an Aramaic speaking fisherman learned to write in Greek at home?
You could.
No.
Why not?
That's not how that worked. In fact, only
How do you
rich
know?
people were capable of really having the ability to pay somebody
do
to
you know
teach
it's
them.
not possible?
Because that's what they did back in the first century. In the first century,
How do you
if
know?
you learned how to write in Greek, that's because you were a rich person, and that's because you went to school. And that word there means illiterate. Unfortunately,
You're proving my point.
yeah, that means that he
Like,
couldn't
they
have read
were
that.
unlettered. They were unlettered in the sense that they did not go
illiterate.
to school. To
Illiterate.
be formally trained on these topics. It does not necessitate that they
On
know how
what
to read or write
topic do you
necessarily.
think they're talking about? The reason why it says illiterate in this verse is because they're talking about Jesus, and they're trying to figure out whether or not this person has read something about Jesus or if they've been with him. The fact that it even mentions this is not trying to assume that, like, oh, hey, this person hasn't like been taught a particular topic. No, it's the idea that they're saying this person is illiterate, so they couldn't have read this somewhere. They had to have been with this guy. That's the point.
Disagree. That's not what it means.
That's exactly what it means. What the fuck do you think
No, it isn't.
4:13 is even talking about? It says, as they looked on Peter and John, so fearlessly outspoken. So they're outspoken about Jesus, and also discovered that they were illiterate persons, untrained in the schools. They were surprised, and now they recognize them as having been with Jesus because they didn't read it anywhere. It wasn't something they picked up from someone else.
Say they hadn't read it anywhere.
It's the fact that they're illiterate. That's, in other words, if someone is talking about Jesus and you are someone, and there's someone who's they very clearly can't read or write, that means that they didn't read it anywhere. They must have heard this or been there. And not to mention, Peter and John, in your case, would have been people who are actually walking with Jesus, which means illiterate in the case that you're trying to make, like they're trying to say that they've been to a school to learn some topic, wouldn't apply here, because when would anybody be able to go to school to learn about Jesus if Jesus had just died? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. The fact that it's using this word, it strictly means can't read or write. It's not trying to imply anything else.
That's false. That's literally false.
They wouldn't need. Why would they care if they had been to school in general? What would be the point of caring about that? What would be the point of caring about that? What would be the point?
You turned off my screen. That's
Correct.
funny.
I'm not going to watch you look at your dick.
You didn't want me to prove you wrong. That's what it was.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that I asked you a question and you're not responding. What would be the point of talking about how they just didn't go to school in general?
I'm showing you that you're wrong.
Cool. So what would be the point of
back then? The context in which it's used back then is that they were not trained. They were they didn't
and
go
that
to
means
school.
they weren't trained in how to read or write. That's what that means.
That is not true.
Yes. Untrained in
How does it
what?
follow?
What? Untrained in what?
How does it follow?
Untrained in what, then? Untrained in what? What do you think it's referring to? Untrained in what? Why would they care? Again, this is going back to my question. Untrained in what? Why? What would they need to be trained in order to talk about Jesus and figure out whether or not they'd been there? What would they need to be trained in?
Let me see. Is it Acts? Acts what again?
It's Acts 4:13. And when you search for this word directly and not just use some like weird biased concordance or something, you'll end up with this. It says agrammatoi, plural of agrammatos. It says it means, it's a Greek term that literally translates to unlettered or illiterate, derived from the prefix a, which means not or without, and gramma means letter or writing. It refers to someone lacking formal education, scholarly training, or sophisticated language skills.
Exactly.
The term is most famously used in the New Testament to describe
someone lacking formal education.
Yes, that means you can't read or write.
Training. That's literally what I said.
Yes, that's what that means.
No, it does. Oh
yes.
my God, no, it does not.
Yes.
You literally just read the definition that I was given this entire time. It does not mean you were not formally trained in a scholarly way.
Biblical usage 4:13. In the New Testament, the term appears primarily in Acts 4:13, where the Jewish council, the Sanhedrin, observes Peter and John. The description: the council members realize the men are agrammatoi, uneducated / illiterate, and idiotai, common or ordinary men.
Look at the meaning. What does the meaning say? Read that.
Again, this is illiteracy.
Oh my gosh. Go back to what you just looked at and read the meaning.
The meaning. The term could mean literal illiteracy.
No, go and read. Put it back up on the screen.
It says, but scholars suggest it more broadly indicates a lack of elite formal theological education, which still would mean 2 Peter. What is 2 Peter? What is 2 Peter?
That's tough.
What is 2 Peter? What is 2 Peter? Did he leave? Oh yeah, he left. 2 Peter is a theological treatise, which means he wouldn't have been able to do this in a Greek language. That's exactly what Bart Ehrman is even trying to argue. In fact, if you click that link, here, let me show you this. If you click that link right there, right here, if he's thinking, oh, hey, this is just a slam dunk, cool, let's go to the Bart Ehrman blog. It literally starts off, in my previous post, I indicated that I didn't think Peter wrote 1st and 2nd Peter. And then he goes into his reasons. Because again, he didn't write it. So even the scholar that is what this is pulling from is saying he didn't write it. I don't know what to tell you. That's what that means. You might think that you had some kind of a gotcha and then you decided to run, but it's not going to work. Scholars do not think that Peter, especially, did not write 2 Peter, even if you think he wrote 1 Peter, which doesn't mention Paul. And either way, 2 Peter doesn't mention anything about like Peter actually knowing Paul. So anyways, that's how it works. What else would it refer to? An economics degree? No, it refers to being able to read or write. All right.
Good morning,
Hey, Crystal J, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you today?
Doing good, doing good. How close are you to the 10,000 mark?
I am really close to 8,000, and so we are just about 2,200, somewhere around there away. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers by my birthday, June 29th. So, yeah, thanks for letting me come up, hang out.
Nice. Let's see. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Hello. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
I consider myself a deconstructing Catholic right now, but I think I can defend the historicity of Paul. I consider 7 of his letters to be authentic.
Okay.
And I think if we look at the writings of Ignatius of Antioch and Polycarp of Smyrna, we find their mentions to Paul as to someone that the recipients of lists from Ignatius and Polycarp, such as church in Ephesus and church in Philippi, would remember as a historical person. So I think these 2 mentions.
Okay. So really fast, Ignatius. When do you think Ignatius was
Paul
writing?
Was historical.
Yeah, cool. When do you think Ignatius was writing?
Around 100.
Where are you getting that?
110.
Where are you getting that?
I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure about the years when he was writing or living.
So the reason why a lot of people think that Ignatius is writing in 100 is because there is a claim from Eusebius, an admitted liar, in the 4th century that Ignatius died around 108 to 110. Unfortunately, there's no evidence of that. In fact, no modern historian who doesn't just take Eusebius' word for it places the death of Ignatius around 110. They typically put it anywhere from about 140s to 160s. In fact, scholar M. David Litva actually places the writings of Ignatius somewhere about 170. Now, that being said, as far as Polycarp goes, he's well into the 2nd century. He dies in like 167. So, I mean, that's not really that good of evidence, especially since the first person to introduce a Paul character is Marcion in 144.
Oh, so Marcion is earlier than Ignatius?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
And okay. Well, then because I wanted to continue my line of thinking, but if you consider Marcion to be the first mention then of Paul, then well, yes, this puts a very big question mark on whole character of Paul. I still consider that it is more probable that historical Paul existed than not, because
we don't have anybody outside of Christianity even mentioning him.
This will not be a hard proof.
And we don't have anybody even mentioning him within Christianity until
this
144.
Will not be a hard proof, but well, we do not have many sources before 140 within Christianity.
Exactly. It's almost as if the whole thing shows up in 144.
We get like mentioned in Pseudo Clement or something like that. That may be earlier, but is a very controversial text.
As far as Clement goes, it's definitely in the 150s.
So we get actually no text from this period, but so we cannot prove with certainty
that Paul
anything
existed.
about Christianity before like 120s. But
yeah,
I think
that's because that's when they
at
first started getting a
whole
text.
corpus of Paul's letters, we find I think it's more probable that some core of these texts would be authentic because they have very distinct and primitive theological doctrines that later pseudo-Pauline letters try to cover up and eradicate. So I think
but in the earliest iterations of Paul's letters that we have come from Marcion, and they don't have these theological things you're talking about. Not really.
Marcion's letters include already Colossians and Laodiceans, which many people think is a version of Ephesians.
Correct.
And in there, we have some high Christology that
not in all of it.
That is
not in the parts that are in there. Laodiceans and Colossians is not within the Pauline or within the Marcionite writings. They're not very robust. The reconstructions of them do not include a lot of the theological things you're talking about.
Okay, I am not.
What I would recommend
about specific.
What I would recommend
of Marcion.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is the book, The First New Testament. It is from scholar Jason Badoon. It is a reconstruction of Marcion's Apostolicon, which is the letters of Paul, as well as the Evangelion or Evangelion, the Gospel, as well. Now, the First New Testament is definitely an easy to read thing where you can follow along and see what's in there. M. David Litva, who I already mentioned as well, he has a new book as well that goes over Evangelion, which is that gospel from Marcion. It goes over the Apostolicon, and it even includes Antitheses, which is his book that describes his theology. And for the first time in like 1900 years, it's all together again. So yeah, I would definitely check out the works of scholar Jason Badoon and scholar M. David Litva if you want more information on the earliest iterations of Paul's letters. Definitely. Let me see here. But that being said, thank you for coming up. Eli Morales, are you there? Lord, eat my shorts. Never forgive me.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
What? Yes, I can.
How you doing, brother? I was trying to come on yesterday, but you're very, very busy.
Oh, well, yeah, there's a lot. And by the way, if you're over on YouTube and you're thinking, oh my God, I want to put this cowboy in his place, well, come on up over on TikTok. You can request up. If you don't want to join on TikTok, don't worry. If you send over a super chat, I will read it out loud and I will respond to it. Promise. Definitely. I definitely will read it out loud and respond. So if you send one, I should be able to answer. If you do want to request up, you can. You got to click the link that's in the chat or click the link that's on the profile in order to go over to TikTok. That's how I take guests. The username is Christ Before Jesus. Just come on up and we'll have a conversation. But anyways, what you got there for us, Eli? Eli, you there? When you're off the app, I can't hear you. There you go.
My bad, bro. I was trying to pull some notes, but it's not letting me.
Yeah. Whenever you hop off the app, I just can't hear you.
Okay. Well, I can't get my notes right now. But look, I heard you earlier, kind of saying that Peter was illiterate and all that. I mean, yeah, he didn't write. Everyone knows that he didn't write.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark was his scribe. Mark was the one who was writing. So the letters of Peter.
Well, then the fact that 2 Peter and 1 Peter don't come up as the same author is really strange because it would still be dictated by him, and it would be weird in order to put it into Greek.
Well, Peter, 1 Peter's and 2 Peter's, those are sermons that he gave.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't necessarily letters to a certain church. They were transcribed through Mark, and they were sent out as material to compile some type of book or
Cool.
something.
So what we're
they
going to
can
do is we're
expand
going
on
to take a
theology.
look at the rest of that blog post there from Bart Ehrman, which is where that person that I spoke to earlier thought that he had some kind of a win. And we're just going to go ahead and fucking read it. It says, in my previous post, I indicated that I didn't think Peter wrote 1st and 2nd Peter. One of my main reasons for thinking so is that I'm pretty sure Peter could not write. These books were composed in highly literate Greek by someone skilled in Greek composition. To be able to compose a book took years and years of training, starting with childhood. Everyone we know like that was elitely trained and connected with a wealthy family, which is exactly what I was fucking telling that guy, but he just wouldn't listen. Almost always in an urban area. Not, for example, a rural Aramaic-speaking day laborer from a remote part of Galilee. It's almost as if I know what the scholars are saying, and I know how to read this fucking word. Anyways, but couldn't Peter have written these books some other way, e.g. by having a secretary or scribe do it for him? I dealt with that question many years ago on the blog based on much fuller discussions in my books, Forged and Forgery, Counterforgery, if you want to see more evidence of logic and still think the same thing. So in other words, no, he doesn't think that Peter had anybody who was there in writing it for him. As it turns out, there is a New Testament evidence that about Peter's education level, according to Acts 4:13, which is what I read that guy. Both Peter and his companion John, also a fisherman, were a grammatoi, a Greek word that literally means unlettered, that is illiterate. And so, is it possible that Peter wrote 1st and 2nd Peter? We have seen good reasons for him not writing 2nd Peter and some reason for thinking he didn't write 1st Peter. But it is highly probable that, in fact, he could not write at all. So, no, he didn't write shit. And in order for this to be happening, this person who is an Aramaic-speaking fisherman would have to dictate to a scribe or something, which Bart Ehrman, again, he hates the idea of scribes. This is definitely not something that he, subscribes to. And in order for this to happen, he would have to be dictating to a scribe that translates into Greek, and it would have to be something that is really, really theological. It would have to be something that somebody would need to be in school in order to fathom. Someone trained in logic in order to actually come up with. Especially since 2nd Peter and 1st Peter don't even come up as the same author, like stylistically. That shows that there wasn't like Mark sitting down writing, or translating into a Greek for him both times. But anyways.
No, I don't necessarily agree to that. I mean, let me give you a little bit of my explanation.
All right.
So currently, I'm in the process of I'm training under a pastor who went to seminary school,
I think that's your problem.
Who's accredited and all that, right? So I myself don't have to necessarily go to seminary school to be educated and be trained in as a theologian. So I'm like a Peter. I'm not formally educated, but I didn't go to college. I did go to college for something else, but I didn't go to college to study theology. I was studying under someone who did.
So in other words, you are formally educated, and did you finish high school?
I did finish high school.
Finishing high school would be something that is far and beyond what the average person, even 100 years ago in America, would have done, much less somebody in Greece or some ancient Greek person. Comparing yourself to Peter is asinine. The fact that you can even spell your own fucking name means that you're already above what the average person in 1st century CE A&E was even capable of doing. Like, I need you to understand that just the public taxpayer-funded education that you can get in the United States that's compulsory is above and beyond what even years of schooling in ancient Greece would have got you as a rich person. So, I mean, nah, man. Like, first of all, don't sell yourself short. You're much smarter than Peter. Also, no, Peter is nowhere close to you. So, no, you can't make that comparison. You just can't. Again, if you're off the app, I can't hear you. There you
My
go.
bad.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. You know.
What? The fact that you're smarter than Peter?
No. I mean, I don't think that people were dumb as rocks in the first century.
It's not that he's dumb, I guess. It's just that you are more trained. You're more educated than Peter. I'm by a mile, dude. The fact that you can spell your first name means that you're probably already smarter than Peter. Or not smarter, but more educated than Peter.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. But look,
you don't
man,
know if you can spell your own name?
Oh no, I do not. I can spell my name, but I wouldn't. I think that maybe
Like at
they
best,
were able to write certain things.
best, what Peter was able to do at best is maybe spell his name and then maybe write a receipt for somebody, like for fish. Like there'd be no purpose of him learning anything else, and to waste time in school would be just a complete and total moot point.
I don't think.
Like,
so you're saying contracts didn't exist back in the first century?
Contracts? What contract is he going to have to read?
So selling fish or making
a receipt. A receipt for fish. Yeah. That's what I said. Like he might be able to spell his name and say, I sold this amount of fish. Like maybe. But other than that, there's no requirement for him to be able to read or write, much less in a different language. Like, now I understand that you think that he had like a scribe, but there's just no evidence of that really anyways. But even if he did, which would also be expensive, by the way.
An extended version.
Yeah.
To
he had a scribe.
Episode
because
2.
I don't know who's talking in the back.
Yourself
very distracting.
To name Cain's wife.
You mute that?
Crystal, are you talking to me?
Here is the original version. Before we get started, we're going to go over the new outline together.
Oh, okay.
When we are rewriting this, we're going to keep as much of the original anti-sermon as possible.
For some reason, it's not.
Add to it. We're not trying to subtract.
For some reason, it wasn't muting. I don't know why. It was really strange, so I had to disconnect. I apologize, Crystal. It had to disconnect. For some reason, I was trying, and everybody was trying. For some reason, I don't know what was going on. Anyways, keep going, Eli.
So Mark, okay.
Yeah.
Everyone, the understanding is that Mark, the Gospel of Mark, is actually the Gospel of Peter, right? And the reason why people conclude the Gospel of Mark is actually the Gospel of Peter.
It says Papias, I guess, but there's no evidence that Mark wrote it or Peter. In fact, there's stories in there that Peter wasn't there for that apparently are talked about.
Well,
like, how would Peter know what was going on while he was betraying Jesus?
So,
how would he know what Peter was saying what Jesus was saying whenever he was asleep in the garden?
Well, I mean, it's like, all right.
It's almost like it's mythology, man. It's historical fiction. It's written in third-person omniscient, and it's not actually from Peter or Mark. Peter's off denying Jesus as Jesus foretold, and yet there's a whole like story of what Jesus is doing at the same time. How the fuck does he know? He wasn't there.
Well, I mean, there's people tell me things of stuff that.
How does he know what Jesus said in the Garden of Gethsemane while everybody was asleep, except Jesus? How does he know what he said?
So, all right, if you can let me finish.
No, seriously, how does he know what he said if everybody was asleep?
I mean, they weren't. I don't know, dude.
It's almost like Peter didn't write shit. It's almost like this isn't something from Peter. It never says it is.
So, the Gospel of Mark.
What? Hold up. No, answer the question. How do we get to these particular problems? These are massive problems for this being a story from Peter, right?
Well, if you can let me get my word out, bro.
Well, no, you made a claim. You made a claim. Back it up. How do we know that Peter is behind it if there's these massive problems?
If you can let me finish, dude. I mean, look. This
are
is
you?
your show,
Are you?
No.
I will let you finish. I will let you finish if you are responding to my point. Are you responding to my point, or are you just going off on your point that you were trying to make earlier? You're off. Whenever you're off the app, I cannot hear you, dude.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. If I'm dry. Oh, crap.
Okay.
Crap.
If you're responding to my question about like the whole prayer thing, I will let you finish. But if you're not responding to it, then you're just building on top of a faulty foundation. You tried to make a claim that this was from Peter, and then you tried to build on top of that claim. Well, there's no evidence that it's from Peter, and I just pointed out a major flaw with what you just said, and I don't want you to continue building on top of a point that makes no sense. So address that, and then we'll continue on. Please, you have the floor. Explain to us how Peter knows what Jesus said while everyone was asleep.
And the gospel, right? When Jesus goes out to pray, right? He brings Peter, John, and Peter, John, and James.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So he brings them out. I'm sure they hear some of what he's saying.
No,
and they knocked out.
It's asleep.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, maybe Jesus went and told them, "Hey, did you hear me pray?" I mean, I write down my prayers. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. The Holy Spirit told him, dude.
Okay, so you appeal to magic. We're trying to figure out whether or not some people existed in history, and the only way to get it there is magic.
Nah, Holy Spirit's not magic, brother.
Yes, it is magic. You just don't like to call it magic because magic implies that it's bullshit.
So anyway, let me go back to what I was saying.
No, I'm not gonna let you go right back to that.
Let me finish, man.
No,
I waited 2 days to talk to you.
Nah, man. I'm not gonna let you build on top of a faulty foundation like that. No, that's not happening. Unless you can.
Peter's gospel, because the man.
All right. Well, you can wait another couple days. You better come up with some better evidence than magic for how Peter knows what Jesus said in the garden. All right, Travis Martin. Oh, by the way, before we get going over here, we do have $5 super chat there from Trotter Taz. Trotter T. I don't know, and I don't want to get in trouble, but Trotter. $5. Thank you very much. Says, love how you're using precise history and facts over feelings, winning every time. Well, thank you. Thank you very, very much. And then, let's see, another $2 there from Zeno Lepudre, which I think is how that's pronounced, says, this is for science of 50. It's Norwegian. Thanks. All right. Anyways, what you got, Travis Martin? What you got?
All right. Well, you said that Yeshua has not been used anywhere else, right? Well, and if you look up the War Scroll, the Copper Scroll, his name is actually found in there.
In the what?
In the War Scroll, the Copper Scroll that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls is actually the oldest Bible ever written.
Okay. Hold on. I think I may have heard you incorrect, but you said, okay, start over really fast because I was trying to take notes, but I don't know what you said.
The War Scroll.
The War Scroll, okay.
From the Dead Sea Scrolls, yes. The word Yeshua is there, and it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua.
Okay.
And actually, when you look at ancient Hebrew writings, they don't match what we might have today. So you can't base the Bible that we have.
Wait, hold. Just to make sure, are you saying the War Scroll talks about Jesus?
It talks about Yeshua, yeah, the same person. It was the brother of James the Just.
Oh, okay, in the War Scroll found in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay, and how did you come across this information?
Oh, because I've been studying this shit since I was little, yeah.
And by the War Scroll, you mean the scroll of the War of the Sons of Light? That one?
Yes, the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness, which is a 40-year war that's supposed to happen in the future. Yeah, and actually, it describes how that book would be found 2,000 years later, around 2,000 years later. And what do you know? It was found around 2,000 years later.
Okay, so the foundational text composition stems from the 2nd century BCE. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how is that about Jesus?
Some of them go back before then. The latest ones start around 70 CE, which is around the time that the Second Conquest happened of Rome. Well, happened when they tore down the Second Temple of Jerusalem.
So this says, the work is not, strictly speaking, let's see, an apocalypse, namely a heaven revelation, and it lacks a messianic figure. Uh-oh.
Yahweh?
No,
Is
that would
the
be the
Messianic
Yeshua
figure?
that you're talking about, I guess.
What? It's saying that Yeshua is not in there?
No, it's saying that there's no messianic figure in there, so I don't know what you're talking about. Just the
Yeah,
name
that's 'cause they
Joshua
don't
was a
want to
fairly
admit
common
that
name back then.
the Essenes. You had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. See, they have hidden the Essenes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, this is all true and is all factual. Yes, just like the Hittites. When you look up the Hittites' writings, yes, you can link the Hittites to Troy. And just like people want to call Greek Roman, it's not really Roman. They spoke Greek and wrote in Greek. How in the fuck were they Roman? They would have spoken Latin.
I'm going to keep it
just
real
think
with you,
about it.
Jeep. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I really don't.
Okay, well, they try to say that Greek was that Latin Rome was Greece, but how was they the same things when they spoke two different things?
What?
How can you speak Latin and Rome? How can you speak Latin and write in Greek and speak in Greek at the same time? It's not possible. No. And there was actually a Hebrew version of Matthew, and one of the first church fathers, Jerome, actually made a copy of this book of Matthew.
One of the first church fathers in the late 4th century?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was actually in Italy where he actually, and supposedly it just burns down. The library just burns down.
The library? Supposedly.
Yeah, the library that he copied it out of burnt down. Yes.
Did the library burn down? Supposedly.
Oh, no, it definitely did. This is recorded history.
Right. So, all right. Man, I've got a lot of questions, man. Namely, how are any people talking about Jesus in the 2nd century BCE before he's even born?
2nd century BCE.
Yeah, that's
Hang on
when
here.
the War Scroll starts. It says the foundational text composition may stem from the 2nd century BCE.
No, it may stem. No, that War Scroll was the last scroll written, and it was actually written around 70 CE. After BE. I like to say BE. Well, no, CE. You're right. Yes. AD. After death. Yes. It was 70 after death. The Essenes actually hid that on their way to Africa. You actually know this because DNA can actually trace their line if you follow the Y chromosome. You don't go for your mother's chromosome, you go for the Y chromosome, and you can trace. I've traced my lineage all the way back to Africa.
The Y chromosome would be supplied by who?
The father.
So then,
It passes from father to son, all the way down, generation to generation, and never changes.
If you were trying to trace the mother's,
you don't want to trace the mother's stuff.
Oh, you don't want.
You don't want.
Okay, yeah.
No, you don't want to trace the mother. The mothers mixes it up. That's why they get you. It costs like $500 to trace your father's DNA lineage.
Oh my God, that's either cheap or expensive depending on how you want me to respond.
Oh, it's very expensive to normal people that's out here living.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Okay.
It's crazy that you don't see that isn't expensive.
Yeah.
Evidently, you've never lived out on the streets.
Evidently, I've never really asked for my blood to be traced through my father's lineage.
Well, if you're smart, you would, because that's how I learned that I'm from the O'Flynn's, and I'm also a Wolfson. And also a Martin. I have Martin DNA, which traced back to France.
As someone there, you mentioned like 2 different animals. Did you mention a wolf and a marten?
No, Wolfson, which is actually
son of a wolf.
Transferred. Yes, you're right. Yes, let me find out. Yes, and the O'Flynn's in Ireland, which were actually kings too.
I believe it.
The Wolfsons that come down from Norway actually came with Canute the Great in 1066. Well, no, not around 1060. No, because 1066 he was already dead. Yeah. So that would have been around 1030, 1030 something.
Yeah.
Well, and this is all just because it's not all documented right. I mean, the Roman Catholic Church has messed with so much, you don't know what to believe. You don't want to talk about the Roman Catholic Church, do you? Oh, shit.
What?
You don't actually want to talk about the Roman Catholic Church, do you? And how they have had a major aspect on what people believe in today.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't have any clue what you're talking about, man.
I think this guy is CIA, and y'all should not listen to this guy. He's probably a CIA asset.
Yeah.
Most likely. They're running psychological tests on people all the time. I mean, it's just that's what AI was created for, to get a digital fingerprint off of people.
Does anybody have any evidence for Jesus or Paul? Please, for the love of Darwin, come up here and help this guy out.
The War Scroll.
No, dude, that doesn't say anything about Jesus like from the New Testament. Please
yes, it
link
does.
that together.
Yeshua.
Cool. What does that have to do with Jesus in the New Testament?
That's how they would have pronounced it back then, because the actual Hebrews were African.
You know, there actually is one person in history who explicitly mentions Jesus and says that he is a real person. Did you want to know the name of that guy?
Who?
And his name is John C.
Every once in a while, we end up with people like that. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, what's going on, James Collins? All right, James Collins is gone. What's going on, Micah Mann?
Hello, how's your day going?
Sweet God, if I get another person who sounds like they're from bumfuck Murfreesboro, I'm going to absolutely shit a chicken.
Oh, that's funny, man. You're wearing a cowboy hat, so I mean...
Yeah, and you can understand what I'm saying. Anyways, what's going on, Micah Mann?
I like to have a respectful conversation, sir.
You know what? You know what? You know what? As long as you're not from Kentucky or Tennessee, we'll have a conversation.
I'm not. I mean, I respect everyone that doesn't do anything wrong to me.
All right. Anyways, by the way, we got a $2 super chat that says, "So uneducated but so confident he gets to vote." Yeah, that happens. Anyways, so what you got? What you got for us today, Micah?
Okay, I mean, I could be wrong if I am wrong, but if you want to take evidence hands down, you can't have none. If hands down. But like creation, how can you create something from nothing without a creator? How is that possible?
Do you know the last guest who I was talking to? Do you know them personally? Is that like your brother, dad, or something?
No.
Okay, well, the reason why I ask is because I don't know how I just somehow broke into a group of people who don't want to address this actual topic.
I am addressing this actual topic. I mean,
because we're talking about two people existing, like Jesus or Paul. What does that have to do with creation?
Anyway, as I was saying, Jesus is God, and I'm saying as in...
Where'd you get that? Where did you get that?
The Bible.
What part of the Bible?
You want the exact scripture? You want the exact verse?
What part of the Bible? What testament did you get that from?
John 3:16.
Sweet. Okay. So how did you determine that John was correct historically when talking about Jesus? How did you determine it was historically reliable?
If you want to play it, if you want to play it like that.
That's exactly how I want to play it, because I'm talking about the historicity of Jesus.
Just listen, bro. Just listen. Factual. You want some facts?
Yes.
Okay. All like Julius Caesar, all these Roman emperors that didn't even believe in Christ, they wrote like documents proving his existence, testimonies. People that didn't even believe.
Julius Caesar did? That's wild.
Yeah, search it up. Go ahead.
That's really wild. Especially since dude. Yeah, Julius Caesar did this. That's weird, especially since he died in 44 BC.
Okay. If he died in 44 BC. Oh, my bad. That's the wrong guy. So his name is... There's many Roman emperors. I don't know the exact thing. I don't know everything. I'm not smart. Anyway, as I'm saying, there's many Roman emperors and people, Roman figures that said he was real. Documents, that's not even part of the Bible.
I don't know of any Roman emperor that says anything about Jesus.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot of historical figures that talked about him that don't even believe in God.
Like
that
who?
said he was real.
Like who?
I'll search him up. I mean, I don't know from hand, but I've
It's
heard.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just minimize the screen and come back, and we'll give me the names. All right, he's searching it up, guys. For you TikTok people, this is the album that was spinning this morning. The Descent of Man. All right. Micah Man, are you back? Micah, you there? Looking for Micah.
Constantine the Great. That's one.
Constantine the Great. Okay, so you're talking about somebody in the 4th century?
Yes.
A
that,
Christian?
Seen him. That claimed to see him. That had manuscripts and wrote testimonies that wasn't even part of the Bible, proving like saying he was real. His existence was real.
You think that Constantine claimed to have seen Jesus?
Yes.
Okay. So, just so we're clear, you think a guy who was alive in the middle of the 4th century saw Jesus in the 1st? I mean, he was born in 272.
He was the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity.
What does that have to do with whether or not he saw Jesus?
He saw a vision of a Christian symbol.
Oh, okay. So he didn't see Jesus then.
Okay.
Is that?
Oh, how about that? How about this? I gotta ask you something. Okay.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Okay. If they ain't no God, okay, just say if
we're
they
not
ain't
talking
no God.
about God, dude. We're not talking about that at all.
Okay, let me get finished before you start interrupting me and disrespectful.
You said the word God. I'm not talking about God. You're bringing up topics that have nothing to do with this.
Okay, how do we know George Washington is real?
We have his fucking teeth.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. We have evidence, people, testimonies. Guess what?
I said teeth.
Oh my God.
Something he owned. His teeth.
Listen,
his dentures. We have multiple dentures that he owned. We have a letter from him that is requesting from France, a dentist over there, new teeth.
Okay, testimonies. There's all kinds
I didn't
of
say anything about testimonies.
Oh my God, dude, why are you so rude to people?
I didn't say anything about testimonies, and you're like, testimonies.
Just be respectful, man.
No, you asked me how we know that George Washington existed, and I didn't say anything about testimonies, and you just went, testimonies.
Yeah, testimonies. People that see him. The same with Jesus. Many historical figures seen him.
Okay,
people seen him.
Who do we have who says, I saw Jesus during his earthly ministry? Who do we have?
Paul the Apostle.
Paul doesn't. You think that Paul saw Jesus during his earthly ministry and then decided to unalive Christians after Jesus died?
Yes, he saw him.
Where does it say that he saw him during his earthly ministry? What verse is this?
In the Bible on the trip to Damascus. Have you read it?
So it's Damascus, first of all. And also, that's not during his earthly ministry. You think Jesus was just walking down the street?
Paul seen him shortly after. I mean, he's seen a vision. Okay, Peter,
you keep
Apostle
bringing
Peter,
up visions as if that's somebody who meets him. Okay. So where do we have any text from Peter that says, I saw Jesus?
Text from Peter? It's in the Bible, bro.
Okay. Is it right around the same verse that says that Peter was illiterate and didn't write anything? Right here, it says Peter and John are illiterate.
Where?
In Acts 4:13, it says, as they looked on Peter and John so fearlessly outspoken, and also discovered that they were illiterate persons. They're illiterate. They couldn't write. So where did Peter write about meeting
How
Jesus?
do you know if they could have learned to write? Who knows? They could have learned
in a
how
language
to write.
they didn't speak?
I mean, they can. People can learn new languages, man.
Where? They're poor fishermen.
Okay, they can still learn, dude.
Where?
Anybody. Okay.
Only 3 to 5% of the population of the Roman Empire could read or write, and that was usually people who were in urban areas and rich. They were wealthy people who were trained since like childhood, not some man who grew up speaking Aramaic as a fisherman.
All right. You got me. All right, you got me. All right, I got something to say. How can you prove that Jesus ain't real? Okay, prove that Jesus ain't real. Prove it.
Because the stories of Jesus in the New Testament don't line up with history. Jesus goes to a place called the Pool of Bethesda that is next to 5 porticos where sick people would lay and then get into the water in order to be healed. This, unfortunately for Christians, is something that was found in the 1900s. There were excavations where they found, archaeologists did find the Pool of Bethesda and those five porches or porticos. They were part of an Asclepion, which is a temple to the Greek healer god Asclepius, and therefore something that shows up after the destruction of the temple in 70.
Yeah.
So Jesus couldn't have been there.
Yeah. Okay. Explain the Dead Sea Scrolls. That
has nothing to do with Jesus. That's
yes,
the Old
it does.
Testament.
Yes, it does.
No, that's the Old Testament, and it dates to about 250 BC.
But it connects to Abrahamic God. It does.
I don't care. We're not talking about God. I don't know how many times I got to tell you this. We're talking about whether or not Jesus or Paul existed. I'm not saying anything about God.
Okay. If you want to play it like that, okay. So
play it like what? How I've been playing it the entire time and told you multiple times that I'm playing it like?
All right. So out of all the figures, like, I mean, we have hope. Christians have hope. Do I know everything? No. I mean, I can agree.
It's pretty obvious. But that being said, do you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul? I don't care about your hope. I don't care about whether or not Jesus saved you or healed you or jerked you off yesterday. I care about whether or not Jesus or Paul existed 2,000 years ago in Judea, walking around on 2 legs.
Yeah, I mean, they did.
Okay,
yes.
And what's your evidence of this?
Evidence? Okay, I got some evidence. Okay, how do you explain historians a few years ago, they found caves of like drawings like carved in of Jesus, of a dude, a shaped person on a cross. They found multiple documents proving the existence of Jesus Christ. People that didn't even believe.
What document are you even talking about? And by the way, as far as cave drawings goes, the Alexamenos graffito has been known for quite some time. It dates to the 3rd century and doesn't say Jesus Christ or Christians. Congratulations.
It doesn't. It doesn't, but it's the closest we have.
Okay. So something from the 3rd century that depicts something that might not even be Jesus is the closest thing you have for Jesus? Sounds good, man. Thanks.
All right. Have a good day, man. That's a good conversation.
It was not.
I mean, thanks. You have a great day, man.
Sweet.
Good job. I mean, I think you're disrespectful, of course. I mean, you could be a little more respectful to people, but...
I mean, you kept trying to change the topic multiple times to God when I told you over and over again that that's not the topic.
Okay.
I'm the one disrespectful, and you can't even lock in on the topic that's very clearly in red letters up there.
I mean, I'm wrong, but you don't have to be a little bitch and be rude for no reason. I'm being respectful to you.
I'm a bitch twice, huh?
Bitch, I think you're a little bitch.
3 times. Why do you sound like Theo Von ate himself?
Ate himself?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that fucking cowboy hat you have.
What about it?
Stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Like you, bro. You fucking idiot. anyway, as I was saying, you're rude. I mean, people like you, I mean, even though someone's in the wrong, I mean, that's what respectful conversation's all about. Even though someone's wrong, you can learn off each other and stuff. I mean, you can still be respectful.
What do you think I can learn from you?
I mean,
in this conversation, what do you think that I possibly learned from you?
I mean, nothing, but I'm just saying you could respect people, you know what I mean?
I haven't dropped you and I haven't muted you.
I mean, I know kindness just goes a long way, you know, in conversation.
Cool.
You can be more kind, man.
Locking in on the conversation also helps the conversation go a long way. I mean, and not trying to change the topic multiple times when the host of the show tells you that's not the topic. That helps the conversation go a really long way.
And the comments are saying I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. Like, about a lot of things. I don't know everything. I can admit when I'm wrong.
Okay.
I mean, fuck. You have a good day, man. I'm done talking. All right. You have a good day.
All right.
God bless. I hope Jesus Christ really reveals himself to you. And, you know, you have a good day. Yeah, you'll be thinking that when you're up there on the judgment seat of Christ. So
I'm on the judgment seat of Christ. I'm judging Christ. Oh, we shouldn't have removed him. Oh, that would have been fun. That was fun. I was on the judgment seat. That was a cool experience. Right.
Oh, why are you so damn disrespectful, Jaren?
I don't know. I guess.
And now you're stuck on that judgment seat. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do now that you're stuck there?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Also, why does it take 2 hours to say goodbye? I felt like I was saying goodbye to my Aunt Mabel or something. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, I mean, the guy, he probably didn't know how to leave, but he definitely didn't know how to stay on topic. He needed his ass kicked all the way back to Mayberry. All right, what do we have over here on YouTube? There are people over there. There's 536 people. If you think that you have evidence for Jesus or Paul, request up. I take guests over on TikTok. If you don't want to hop onto TikTok, you can you can send a super chat, and I will read it out loud, and I will respond to it if you can. Aaron over on YouTube, he said join the live, and then he pasted what he thought was the link, but the most recent thing that he had copied was a bunch of baby bottles. And so he's like, join the live, babies. Oh, that's awesome. No, that's good. All right. Anyways. Hey, let's see who's back. Willing to turn the other ass cheek, or whatever Jesus told him to do. What's going on, Saint?
Yeah, so did you do your research now?
I have no idea what you're even talking about. You're talking about the research there from the scholar who very clearly stated that Peter was illiterate and also didn't write 1st and 2nd Peter. We read that. We actually read it out.
We verified what it meant.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, let's. I still have it pulled up. This meaning right here. Whenever you click this, it takes you over to Bart Ehrman's blog, where he explicitly says that it says, according to Acts 4:13, both Peter and his companion John, also a fisherman, or a grammatoi, a Greek word that literally means unlettered, that is illiterate.
Yeah,
and it says we have good reasons for him not writing 2nd Peter, and some reason for thinking he didn't write 1st Peter. But it is highly probable that, in fact, he could not write at all. So, please present us evidence for Paul.
Well, we just did, and I actually want to dissect what you just said.
Give me evidence for Paul.
Was Peter a fisherman according to the
Give
scripture?
us evidence for Paul.
We're doing that.
Yes, because you were never able to actually prove that anybody mentioned Paul or knew Paul.
Oh my gosh, this is just dishonesty.
Nope, we are still on the same topic.
According to the scripture, was Peter a fisherman?
And we are not talking about Peter anymore because he's illiterate, and he was the only reason you brought him up was to try to show Paul.
Can you be an illiterate fisherman?
All right. Yes, you can be an illiterate fisherman.
So how would you be able to write taxes?
Taxes? Why would you have to?
Yes, you would need.
Do you think they filled out like 1099s back then? The fuck are you talking about? Anyways, so what is your evidence for Paul?
This is so bad.
Yeah, what's your evidence that Paul existed?
How would a fisherman buy, sell, or write tax receipts, bro?
Are you serious?
They're illiterate.
Are you serious?
Yes, they're illiterate.
What did I tell you? Or I mentioned, I wasn't you. It was a person after you who was bringing up the same stupid argument. I said that a fisherman, at best, would maybe be able to spell his name in the language that he speaks,
So
and
how
then
would they
maybe write a
sell,
receipt.
and buy tax receipts, dude? If they can only
So
spell
tax
their name?
receipts. You keep saying taxes as if that means something. At best, they would be able to show that someone bought a certain amount of fish or write their name. That does not mean that you could write in another language.
How would they do that if they can't read or
religious
write?
treatise?
Oh goodness. No, how would they do that if they could only write the name? I'm going to go with what you said.
Again,
How would
that
they
is
even do that?
completely different from writing a religious treatise. I said at best he
Okay,
would
got
be
you.
able to write his name at best.
So how would he do everything else that requires him that is required of his literal job?
Required from his literal job is to catch fish, not write.
No, how would he buy, sell, and write tax receipts if
there's
he had
no
no form of
requirement.
literacy?
There's no requirement for you to write whenever you buy something.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is.
No.
Actually, yeah.
No.
How do you know?
Because a fisherman back then was not having to read like some giant contract for a boat or something. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make perfect sense.
No, it doesn't. It makes perfect sense if you're an idiot. But that being said, do you have any evidence for Paul? Because that's what we're talking about. If you mention Peter one more time, you'll be blocked.
I get it, yeah, because you can't deal with it.
No, so because Peter has nothing to do with Paul, and we've already shown this.
Proves that he has some form of literacy.
All right, so you either give me the evidence for Paul, you either give me the evidence for Paul, or you're gone.
Paul mentioned Peter.
Okay, Paul mentions Peter. Mm-hmm. How do you know that Paul wrote that?
No, I said Peter mentioned Paul.
Cool. Well, Peter didn't write, so if you say Peter again, you're gone.
Well, that's the assumption.
Do you have the assumption? No, you don't have any evidence that he could. That being said, what is your evidence for Paul?
Yeah, the fact that Paul himself says he wrote scripture.
That's not evidence that he existed.
How?
How do you know that he wrote it?
What is evidence? Because he said he wrote it. What is evidence?
All right. Say it. All right. Exactly. If anybody's got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Otherwise, we'll just kind of sit here and wait until somebody is capable of coming up here and explaining Acts 4:13.
How Peter did his taxes.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to know how Peter did his taxes. He used H&R Cross.
Jesus Christ. That's awesome. All right. Micah Mann, you are back.
I came back. I looked for some evidence. Okay. You said Peter was an illiterate. How can a illiterate be a pope? A lot of people consider him to be a pope. Guess what? Popes have to know Latin. They have to know Latin to write. So how could he be an illiterate? Just think. How could he be an illiterate if he was a pope? Usually when people put somebody in that position of authority, they have to know the Latin language. When it comes to Catholicism. But the early church fathers, they had to know the language since a lot of people didn't know how to write in Latin. But so he'd have to know Latin if he was in the position of the Pope.
You believe Peter was a pope?
Yes.
What's the evidence of that?
Many writings from the early church fathers.
Okay.
And plus,
did any of them say that they knew Peter?
Yes.
Who? Who says I know Peter?
What's that guy's name? Is his name Fish? I forgot his name. Hold on. 1 second. I forgot his name.
Is his name Fish? Is that what he was going to say? Is his name Fish?
Yes. Mayor McFish knew him.
Not to be confused with Mayor McCheese.
No, Cornelius Tacitus.
Mentioned Peter.
No, mentioned Jesus. He mentioned Jesus.
We're talking about Peter, dude. You said that Peter was a pope, and I said, what's your evidence of this? And you said early church fathers wrote about him, and I said, who says that they knew Peter? And you said, let me check. I think his name was Fish, and then you jumped off and came back with Tacitus talks about Jesus. What is even happening right now?
Where have these people come from this morning? This is cracking me up.
I got the name Ignatius of Antioch.
Also doesn't say that he knows Peter.
Yes, it does. Look it up.
He says, I know Peter?
He wrote about Peter being the Pope.
Cool. That doesn't mean I know Peter. That's not them saying, I know Peter. That's what I just asked you for. Someone who knows Peter.
Yes, if he wrote about Peter and about how he was.
He wasn't even a contemporary to Peter.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Bro. Look it up, bro.
What is happening right now? All right. Okay, so, do you have any evidence whatsoever of the things that you say?
Yes.
Okay. What?
Nature. The earth. That's one. Okay, how do you create this beautiful nature
Are you back?
Without,
listen.
You have to have a creator, bro.
Listen.
You have to have a creator.
Listen. I don't know what hollow you hail from, but at the end of the day, this is a conversation about the history of two people. Jesus and Paul.
That's what I'm talking about. Jesus is God.
You keep bringing up God and creation.
Yes.
And that dog won't hunt. Go look for something else that shows evidence that Jesus or Paul walked on this planet. Dear God, man.
Listen. But Jesus Christ is God.
Cool. Where did you read that?
The Bible, dumbass.
Okay. And how did you know that the Bible was historically reliable when talking about Jesus?
Because it has the most accounts and the most manuscripts out of any other book.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Harry Potter has a lot of manuscripts. Does that mean it's real?
Wait, but that's not a religious book, man.
Because most people are smart enough to see through the bullshit and say that magic doesn't exist when they read Harry Potter. But you look at the magic in the New Testament and go, this is real.
Yes.
All right, we'll go with Lucas. Lucas, what you got for us?
Yeah, bro, I've got proof that Jesus exists.
Okay.
Can I
Exists
show you on
today
camera,
or
bro?
no? Exists today or existed?
Well, like, I've got proof that he is basically capable of doing everything that the Bible says. But the only way to prove, though, I have to show on camera. Come on, bro, I've seen you so many times. Surely you can trust me that I'm not going to do anything inappropriate.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've got, like, what's claimed about Jesus?
Yeah, we'll just move on to somebody else. Nanoj, what you got?
What's up, big dog? How's it going?
Are you in the bathtub?
I'm gonna take that as a yes, and he didn't think we'd be able to hear the noise or something. What? This is cracking me up this morning, Jaren. I listen to you so much. What is going on this morning? What is happening? This is cracking me up.
Let's get to some super chats. Okay, so there's a super chat over on YouTube, $4.99. There from the Manatee 890 says, it always comes back to the cosmic death threats. And then Corey Starkiller responded to that over on YouTube saying, it's all they have. It's true. It's true. Dear God. That, I mean, like, what the hell was that? Like, honestly, what the hell was that?
But Jesus, okay? Listen, if you would just look outside at creation, you would know that Paul existed. I don't understand how you can't tell by that palm tree that I'm looking at. Paul was real.
I don't know. All right, we're gonna bring up. We've got back for a third time, and of course, as you know, 3 strikes and you're out. So don't bring up something stupid, or you will be blocked. But we've got Micah Man coming back up.
All right.
What's going on?
I didn't come to. Okay, I want to say this. Why do you hate Jesus so much? Why? What do you have against him?
I don't hate anybody who doesn't exist.
Okay, so why are you on here like just harassing other people and just criticizing other people for something they believe in?
I'm not harassing anybody. You requested up 3 times.
I know, but no, bro. Listen, but why are you in here just saying that Jesus ain't real? That Jesus ain't real? What point
really
are you trying
really quick. Just so we're
no.
clear. Just so we're clear. And this
What
goes for
point- what
YouTube
point
and it
are you
goes for
trying to
TikTok.
make?
Please listen.
What point are
If you are on TikTok or YouTube and you feel offended by looking at this and you think that this is
I
harassment,
don't
or
feel
something like that-
offended, but
Well,
I'm
listen,
saying
listen,
why
listen,
do you offend others?
Listen,
Why do you
listen,
offend others,
listen.
bro?
If you feel offended, not you or anybody else, just anybody else, all you got to do, that's it. You You put your finger on the phone and you go like this, like that. That's all you do. You just swipe. That's it. You can do it now. It's perfectly fine. I'm not going to be like really upset if you do that.
Yo, I'm asking, why do you want to offend others, bro? Like,
I'm not offending anybody. I'm talking about history, and Jesus never existed. Did you have any evidence that he did?
Why do you want to keep making that point? Why do you care? Do you have something else better to do with your life than just do this?
Not until 4.
I mean, you really hate Jesus, don't you?
Nope, he didn't exist. Can't hate him.
But
I mean, you should come talk to me on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays because I do hate him. So come talk to me.
Why do you hate him? Why do you hate him?
This is his show.
Yeah. We're not gonna pivot. We're not gonna pivot. But you might want to go. And this is for anybody and everybody. You might want to go ahead and follow Critically Crystal J.
Well, I hope Christ forgives you in your soul. I really do.
And I hope your mom wears something nice tonight.
Me.
All right.
Hello.
Iridescent smoke.
Flawless. I got a quick question.
What you got?
How do you reconstruct, or do you believe in the anti-Docetism in the Gospel of John with the second century time period? Like, what are they responding to? You know, if there wasn't a historical Jesus, and so there wasn't differences in whether or not he was a phantasmal projection or a physically resurrected individual, is it all just response to literary construction? At what point? It seems to me that they did start to believe.
What are you referring to? For everybody in here, including myself, what are you referring to?
So anti-Docetism.
Well, I mean, I get that, but like, what part of John do you think is anti-Docetism?
This is something it's what I've been learning about it from Richard Carrier.
Okay, well,
but
there's your first problem.
But it seems that Gospel of John seems to present Jesus in the most physically resurrected way possible compared to the synoptic works.
I mean, it's got the longest like post-resurrection scene. Yeah. Luke straight up says that he like eats food or something.
So you don't think it meets the criteria of actually describing physical resurrection?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, body. I mean, I don't think that there's anything necessarily surprising about that. I mean, by the time that John is written in the mid to late second century, people definitely thought that Jesus was historical and people thought he was real.
Okay. That's what I was really trying to get at. It's like, at what point did the counter literature that is the canonical Bible now to, Marcion of Sinope's Evangelion become literalized? Like, do you think Marcion had already thought it was literal by the point he published it? Or
literal as in like historical?
Substrate? Yeah, historical.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
you don't think Marcion thought?
You could make the argument, but I don't think so. But that being said, by the time so John comes out after Luke and Matthew are very much a Jesus is a real person. He was here kind of thing.
And what about Mark? Do you think that also?
Well, Mark not as much, but I mean, it just kind of depends. I think that any kind of real like ties with humanity or tie-ins with a human being that Mark presents is more for the purpose of being able to portray it in a play or an oral history, or like an oral history, or like a orally read story or something. But nevertheless, it's going to have maybe a little more than Marcion's gospel, like as far as like a historical person. And then Matthew comes along and says he's born here and a descendant of David and shit. Luke comes around, fixes the descendant problem because it skips some people in Matthew's genealogy and gives a cursed person in Jeconiah. So then Luke kind of fixes that a little bit and gives another genealogy. John comes around and doesn't really have a birth story and a genealogy, but does have longer, it does have longer post-resurrection scenes. It does, however, in John 3 have Jesus talking to Nicodemus, and he says that no one has ascended to heaven except the one who came down from heaven or descended from heaven, the Son of Man. So I think that it is, my co-author and I, we see John as more or less this kind of hopeful bridging of the gap between like the proto-Catholic side that views Jesus as this historical person who's this real person and everything, and then also the more like Gnostic side where they're more closely aligned with like what Marcion would have presented. So John is almost this like, hey, like this last-ditch effort to kind of unite both sides, or not both sides, but as much as possible of this like Gnostic versus proto-Catholic kind of view. Because it does have Jesus as a person. He has brothers, but he's not. It also kind of portrays him as potentially not even born here. It's like a kind of blending of both concepts.
All right, that pretty much answers my first question. And then my last one is about Mithras. So under your timeline, he would be kind of contemporaneous to at least the material Marcion was working with. So do you think that they, you know, the Christ figure, maybe it wasn't called Jesus at that point. This is like late 1st century when the Mithras was first being, like, I think that's our earliest references to Mithras. Are they borrowing from each other? Is it, I mean, have you been able to discern anything about that?
Like the Mithraic cults and whatnot?
Yeah, the Mithraic cult.
I mean,
to
I definitely feel like
Christian
that's
cult.
something that's influencing Christianity, definitely, because I mean, mystery cults kind of borrowed a lot from each other. I feel like Christianity itself was a syncretic religion and mystery cult that started much earlier than people think, and definitely was influenced by other things. It's not that, I guess, I don't want people to think that I'm taking like a zeitgeist approach to this and saying, oh, hey, Jesus is just a retelling of Osiris or Horus or something like, no, or Mithras or something, or Zoroastrianism, that kind of. No, not necessarily. It's that we can see these elements in it because it was a mystery cult just like the others. Like, there's going to be things that line up with it. Likewise, we also have tie-ins with like astrology and stuff, not because they're specifically trying to write that into the story, but because these religions and cults that go before Christianity and whatnot, they are, the further you go back, the more they're tied into like stars and planets and shit. And so it's going to seep in indirectly, if that makes sense.
It's just the same like Greco.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Greco. Okay.
Yeah. It's
All right.
par for the course. It's something that was going on at the time, so it makes sense that it would be something very, very similar to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But eventually, though, by the mid to late 2nd century, Jesus is this deity that is presented as becoming more of a historical person. It's interesting you bring up Richard Carrier, because of course Richard Carrier doesn't necessarily subscribe to the idea of like 2nd century authorship, obviously, you know, because that would mean that, you know, Christ before Jesus got something right. But anyways, the point is, if you take his approach towards like the earliest Christian writings talking about like a more spiritual Jesus or whatever, and then over time historicizing it, if you take that approach and move it to the 2nd century, like combine it with our dating and everything, it's pretty much foolproof, because that's basically what we're saying anyways. We're saying that Jesus is a deity who becomes historicized over time, and that's what Richard Carrier says, but he assumes that all this shit is going on in the 1st century, starting with Paul.
I thought didn't he briefly on a recent thing on Myth Vision bring up the Marcionite priority?
Yeah,
Has
so
he shifted his...
he has actually like hinted at the idea that like some of the things that we have talked about for some time are actually accurate, but he definitely does not want to give us our flowers. That's the last thing he wants to do. And it's funny to just watch him writhe.
It seems like everyone who's in this sphere behaves that way.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen it with Bart Ehrman first. You know, he'll never give up the historical Jesus thing now that he has these books that are pretty much what his credibility is dependent on. And I think there's something to do with like the institution he's with. I mean, he kind of has to stick to a historical Jesus for them to allow him to.
About 6-7 months ago, we had a scholar come onto the live very briefly. He was a retired lecturing professor, and he knows Bart Ehrman personally. And he said that after Bart Ehrman retires, don't be surprised to see a book that comes out from him that says that it's possible Jesus may not have existed. but don't shoot the messenger. It's possible.
I mean, he even admits the evidence isn't great.
Yeah, he does admit that it's not great.
And when you, I think, independent of the stylometry, which I've still been trying to wrap my head around how it actually works, rather than just taking your word for it necessarily. The reliability of the Eater's delta when applied to the amount of passages available to analyze. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I want to fully understand it before I fully commit to that. I don't even think you need it, because
what I would also recommend, by the way, if you want to know a little bit more from a scholarly perspective, an actual scholar's perspective on someone who's going to know like data science and utilize it, check out the work of Benjamin White. His book Counting Paul came out last year, and it uses the same software that Matthew and I use. He doesn't know about our book. His book was being written and is published by Oxford Press. So I mean, it's good stuff, definitely. And M. David Litva in his next work, he cites Benjamin White as well as Matthew and I.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks. All right, let's see. If you were over on YouTube and you want to come up and give some evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Come on up now. You can request up over here on TikTok. I understand that YouTubers are sometimes like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's perfectly fine. If you send a super chat, I will read your message out loud and I will respond to it. I promise. I will. Because I don't want you to like spend money and be like, hey, I spent money and he never even addressed me. No, I will do that. I will read it out loud. Or you can hop onto TikTok. The link is in the chat or on the YouTube profile. And you can come up here and you can request up. The request button should be right here above Crystal's head there on TikTok or down there. But definitely a good guest there asking some questions. Definitely good. All right, let me see here. Javar is back. What's going on, Javar?
Well, I just have another question. So you don't believe? I heard you said you believe in God. No, do you not believe in God, or do you just not believe in Jesus?
What does that have to do with Jesus? Yeah, no, it's not the topic.
Yeah, because your name says Christ before Jesus, and I'm trying to figure out like, do you think
because there was a Christ deity that the Christians worshipped before the mythology of Jesus was invented in the 2nd century?
Okay, that was my only question.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, that was it. I just wanted to know where you were with your statements.
Nothing else?
No, I'm just curious of what your argument is.
All right. Nothing else?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Fair enough. Thanks for coming up. If anybody else has any evidence for Jesus, come on up. Let's see here. We did get a super chat. Oh my God. It's $1.99 from Jim12. Says, I spent money to make you say queef. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Do people actually have to pay you to say that? I think I could probably get you to say that without paying.
Anyways. It's just ridiculous. But yeah,
if you're dumb when you need her. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I just got you to say her name.
No, that was Dr. Ajim who paid.
That was Dr. Jim who paid. Dr. Jim, I could have just made him say your name.
$1.99. $1.99. What was that, critically, Crystal? Did you say something?
No, I thought that was your wife.
Oh, probably. Anyways,
Elizabeth says that's her wife.
Oh, okay. That's my wife. All right. If you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Come on up now. There are some people over there on YouTube that are just absolutely. So Jesus is a Disney character? I don't even know what that means. Pontius Pilate's reports of him exist. I don't think so. If you have any evidence that Pontius Pilate wrote about Jesus, then request on up or on TikTok or send a super chat. I will respond to your super chat. There is a link there in the chat there. If you click that link, it'll take you over to TikTok, and you can come on up and we can have a conversation. They're on TikTok. We got, oh, hell yeah, from Elizabeth Heretics. Yes, Jesus is a Disney princess. What? How's that? What? What are you even talking about? Lip says it didn't spell Kazakhstan correct, but close. Kazakhstan, #1 exporter of potassium. All other countries have inferior potassium. All right, James Brown, get up now. Get on up.
They said I am the mythicist Melissa McCarthy.
That's actually pretty good. Also, Rich says, reports of Pontius Pilate's reporting anything are greatly exaggerated. I like that. Disney actually did make a musical about the birth of Jesus, so he is officially a Disney character. Kazakhstan, very nice. I have evidence for Paul Newman. Yeah, isn't he? He's the guy on the ranch dressing bottles. All right, they worship the hawk. I don't know what that means. What does it even mean? Salad dressing. Yeah. Salad dressing being his legacy is wild. Now, I know that he's like an actor and everything like that. And, you know, all of your grandmothers wish that they could bang him. But nevertheless, I remember him as the face of ranch dressing. All right. Okay, finally, getting some super chats over there from YouTube that are actually talking about the topic and not just trying to get me to say certain words. All right. $1.99 from Altus Buddha, who says, what's the basics of your claim trying to know? So I say that even the natural Jesus and Paul as presented by the New Testament, as well as the Quran and the Book of Mormon, did not exist. This is because of the fact that you have stories of Jesus that are anachronistic. Even some of the natural stories of him do not line up with like the first century history that we know of based off of geography, like maps and lists of the time, contemporaries of the time, Jewish theology of the time and practices of the time, archaeology of the time. Because of this, we can see that these stories are something that just get written later on. It's not actually from anybody who knew Jesus or even knew someone who knew Jesus. By the time that we get any writings about Jesus, even the grandparents of the authors would not have been alive to actually see him. Then we have $5. Thank you very much from Camran Vino. Okay, Camran Vino Rosso. Something red wine. I don't know what Camran means. Cameron red wine, maybe. We'll go with that. All right, $5. Thank you very much. Says after Justin shows, your show is my new addiction. Y'all got any more of them CBJs? Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you very, very much, Cameron Redwine. And Skeptic Frog replied to that and said, "Dude, same. Dude, same. You know, do I have a sound? Here we go. We have yeah. Aww. Thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. We did have some people who were coming by. CBJ Nachos. CBJ is my cowboy. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
Arby's, we have the meats.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
Dr. Pepper, baby, is good and nice. Doo-doo-doo.
Because you, my precious little bitch boy,
Stop it,
are
sir.
tripping balls.
That's how it goes. Alrighty. None of those were my sound. I don't even remember your sound. Let's see.
I do love some Baby Billy, though.
Yeah. What's that fucking... Is this the sound?
There is no Easter.
No. Well, that's still funny, though.
There is no Easter Bunny. There is no Tooth Fairy. And there is no Queen of England.
It's true. It's true. There is no longer a Queen of England. It's a fact. She dead. All right, we got Super chat over here. We got $4.20 from Tamad Singar, who says, says, what that mouth do? Not a lot, except for eat your mother's box. Anyways, so we're going to move on to the next person who's requesting. Ballant, how's it going?
Yo, I had a quick question. I think you were talking about yesterday about a guy was trying to use this part of Josephus that you said was added later.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me like a little bit of context on like why that was added, like what happened there?
The Testimonium Flavianum was probably what we were talking about. But yeah, we don't have any evidence of it until the 4th century, and even then, it's the version that even Christian scholars acknowledge had to have been interpolated or added to because it doesn't have anything that Josephus would have actually said. Or it doesn't have certain things in there are not things that Josephus would have said. So what scholars tend to do is that, yes, but what scholars tend to do is they tend to say, hey, let's take a look at that text and rip out the pieces that we don't like and leave the pieces that we think he must have said, but we don't have any version that does that. Like, they'll go through and they'll say, he didn't say this part, he didn't say this part, he didn't say this part, but there's no version of the text that we have that ever has the testimonium with those pieces, just those pieces removed. So it's pretty bad. And then after that, and believe it or not, we actually have it's not Russian, but I think it's Slavic, I think. So in the Slavic language, we actually have a version of Josephus's books or some of his texts that include the Testimonium Flavianum in a different book and some other claims of Jesus in that book. So we can literally see that in the centuries right around then, because this is only that Slavic version is about a century later than the Greek version that we have of Antiquities of the Jews. We can see that the Christians are actively trying to add pieces to Josephus in order to make it seem like he's talking about Jesus. That Slavic version has even more versions or even more references to Jesus, and they're all very clearly Christian, and it's pretty bad. Like, pretty constantly the Christians are adding things into text to make it look like Jesus actually existed, and we can see it. They were actively doing that.
So no, for sure. And that's why, like, it's just funny, like when I was listening to him, I'm just like, they always have to like come up with, like, they have to like keep backtracking and coming up with this bullshit when you're just like, dude, this guy was a Jew, he didn't, and it's just like, yeah, well, actually, okay. But anyways, okay, but what about the earlier Christians that you were saying, you know, like in 20, when you were talking about Mark, and then, so we had somebody's call, like some group of people, Christians worshiping some Christ, and then the Romans like introduced this whole Jesus story through Marcion and all this stuff to like, how come they did, like, how come that stuff was made up by, or with the Greek stuff?
What do you mean? What guy?
Well, doesn't, okay, so there were Christians in 20 and even before then, right?
I would say so. Mm-hmm.
And then we don't get all these Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John until like way later. And like you said Marcion wrote Mark, right?
No, Marcion writes Evangeline. Mark itself is probably based off of his gospel, like almost like a play version or like a orally read aloud version of his gospel.
And who actually wrote that? You know?
We don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know for Mark or Matthew. For Luke and John, we can narrow it down. It's probably Irenaeus or Polycarp there for those two. But we can at least get pretty close for like Luke and John, that kind of thing.
So my question is, if we're thinking it's maybe Polycarp, why did Polycarp like write these fanatical stories
because he had heard them swirling around within his circles and whatnot, and he had already had a gospel that had been presented before. I mean, it says at the beginning that I too, having a firm grasp of everything from the start, decided to write down things, because he's acknowledging that there's other gospels, and he's saying, I know better than everyone else. And so he's trying to write an orderly account, it says in Luke 1, of the story of Jesus.
Okay. Yeah. There's so many things. I need to do more research and read more, but it's just more fun to just watch your live, to be honest.
Well, I mean, thank you. It means a lot.
All right. But anyways, cheers.
Thank you very much. That was Ballant, everybody. Ballant or Ballant? I might be pronouncing his name incorrectly the whole time. Over there on YouTube, we've got a $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much from Bob the Builder's Sack. It's SAC sack, so I don't think it's like Bob the Builder's like sack. I think it's more Bob the Builder Sacramento. I hope it is.
That's really wholesome of you to think that, Jared.
You know what? We're gonna go with that. Anyways, Bob the Builder Sack says, doesn't matter how much you talk, you will never prove Christians wrong. Not one tried, but everyone failed 2,000 years later. I don't know really what that last part means, but I'm not trying to prove Christians wrong per se. And I'm just trying to prove people who think that Jesus existed wrong because he didn't exist. That would include people other than just Christians. People who think that Jesus existed are called like historicists versus mythicists, which is what I would be. So I don't care about what religion you are. I don't give a shit. It's just, if you care about whether or not your religion is correct or built on top of like false foundation, then, I mean, yeah. If that matters to you, then that matters to you. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, Jesus never existed, and as far as Christianity goes, yeah, I don't care. Whatever you want to say there or believe. Let's see here. And then somebody responded to that. It said, if no one tried, how did everyone fail? Yeah, I'm not really sure what the last part says. Not one tried. Not one tried, but everyone yeah, I don't even really know what you're saying at the end of that one. Let's see.
Let's face it, if you don't try, you have failed, Jaron.
Yeah, I think
that's what that person is trying to say.
It was motivational.
If you don't give it a try, you have failed.
Yeah.
So get up here and give it a try, y'all.
Yeah. It was a motivational speech from Bob the Builder's Sack. Anyways, Truth Dog, what you got?
Well, I believe that God is the most reasonable explanation that we have life. That we know life. It's not unreasonable to think that we were created.
Okay, well, that's not the topic really, but we are talking about Jesus and Paul never existing. Do you have any evidence that they existed?
I do, but it's
Okay.
Testimonial that you probably wouldn't want to hear. So,
well, I mean, if you got a testimony from somebody 2,000 years ago, that sounds pretty good. What'd you got?
Well, I got a lot of testimonies. I have a gift, and I prayed about being a prophet because I know so much. And I prayed about it a few times. One night I prayed about it, and I had a dream where we were coming back from the barges. I used to work on a river, and we were in a crew van. We pulled in a gas station to get gas, and I got out. And God walked over to me, and he said, do you know what it says in Hebrews 1:1, don't you? I thought about it. I never read Hebrews 1:1. And it says, in the past, at many times, in many different ways, God has spoken to the people through prophets, but not since Jesus Christ. He only speaks through the Son. And I didn't know that because I've never read Hebrews or most of the Bible, but I do have a relationship with God otherwise, apart from the Bible. And yeah, I prayed about being a prophet because I have several things that are really significant testimonies that were miraculous. And, I wonder why. I'm 67 years old, and this happened for over a 7-year period in my life from when I was 52 years old to 59. I had a lot of things happen in the 7-year period, like one after the other, that were really miracles. And I was told I have a prophetic gift, and I didn't even know what that was, but I learned a little bit about it, and I started to pray about that, being a prophet. I wanted to be a prophet so I could get the world to know what I know. And that night I prayed about it a couple times there, and I was serious about it. And I had that dream, where that guy said Hebrews 1:1, and I never knew that.
That was a dream the whole time? That was a dream the whole time?
No, I prayed about being a prophet, and that night I had a dream where God told me,
I thought you said that this is some guy coming home from a barge or something. I
used to work on the barges, and I had.
You know what? I'm sorry I even said the word barge. Listen, okay, so what is your evidence that Jesus or Paul existed 2,000 years ago? Because I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I really don't.
Okay, a young lady, she painted Jesus when she was 8 years old, and it sold for $850,000.
Oh my God! What does that have to do with 2,000 years ago?
Her parents were atheists. They never spoke of Jesus in the household at all. But she saw Jesus when she was 4.
Physical pain.
She saw the image in her head.
Physical.
And she started painting at 6. And
actual pain.
Yeah, it looks like a photograph. I mean, it's so detailed.
Yeah.
And it corresponds with something that I prayed about, and I found a picture of Jesus from 1884 in Hungary. And it's the exact same. I mean, the 8-year-old couldn't have copied it. I mean, it's just come from
yeah, of course. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. Yeah. Anyways, so really fast, do you have any evidence for Jesus 2,000 years ago? Because that's what we're talking about.
No, I haven't for today.
Okay. Well, then we're not interested. Big Schmello?
Hello, can you hear me?
What's your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm over 18 years old.
Over 18? Okay. And have you ever worked on a barge?
Sadly not.
Okay. Sadly not. I'll go ahead and mark that you want to work on a barge, but you have not had the opportunity.
Can you put me down too, Jaron? I
sadly not?
That.
Okay. So we've got 2 people that are potential bargers, just barging in, potential bargers. That is Crystal and Big Schmello. Carschmello Anthony. All right. Speaking of which, fuck next. So, what is your evidence for Jesus or Paul 2,000 years ago? Big Schmello.
I wanted to say that I personally kind of now am a mythicist because of you.
You're a mythicist?
I have like a big problem. I have a big problem with...
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm having a big problem with the Paul being like fake. And maybe I'm just like I can't get my mind around about the fact that in Corinthians 1, he's basically saying like don't have kids. Like,
okay.
Because bad things will happen, like if you marry. So don't do it, because he, like in my opinion, he thinks that Jesus will come back. Like he actually thinks that.
Okay.
Like if he would exist, it would make sense for me. Maybe you have a better answer for me.
Well,
like,
I mean,
why is he saying it?
I mean, even if that's something that they're trying to promote, that doesn't necessarily mean much, really. I mean, so let's see. You're talking about there. It's in. Like as far as like
Corinthians 1 concerning unmarried.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians is like for the unmarried people. Let's see, where's that?
I have it on Bible Gateway, I guess.
Trying to find which is it. 1 Corinthians? Is it in? Is it in 7? Yeah, I think so.
I think it's 28. Wait, maybe.
Man, it's not 28. 1 Corinthians
Maybe,
7?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
All right. Yeah, so in the earliest iterations of Paul's letters there in 1 Corinthians, like if you read like scholar Jason Badoon's reconstruction of the Apostolicon, it doesn't really talk as much about like, oh, Jesus is coming back or something. It's just talking about getting married, like whether or not you can get married. It's not really implying that Jesus is about to come back.
Okay, but why is he explicitly saying not to marry? Like, it's not a sin, but like if you do it, you...
Well, I mean, it's just kind of trying to talk about like relationships and stuff like that, like trying to figure out if people can actually marry or not, based off of like his theology. I mean, a lot of what Marcion is promoting is this kind of, it's almost like this weird like counterculture type thing. There's even some evidence to suggest that they were more like pescatarian or something, like they had some dietary restrictions as well. So to assume that they had some restrictions on like celibacy and stuff like that would just be it's just kind of par for the course.
Okay. Is it because they thought like, yeah, they're Gnostics, so they if you already know the truth, like it doesn't matter if you have like marriage between like man and a woman? Or
yeah, yeah, it's not really talking about like for the purpose of like a coming savior. It's just kind of talking about the concept, like talking about the concept of marriage.
Interesting.
Yeah,
do
because
you think?
Go ahead.
Do you think Marcion like thought like something is gonna happen like in his time?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
okay,
maybe.
Then,
but,
thank you.
I mean,
that answered my question.
I guess a lot of Christians will focus a lot on that concept of if they're talking about Jesus like coming back and stuff like that, they must be writing in the first century, you know. But no, not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't say when he comes back. Even if Marcion was talking about Jesus coming back and thinking that it would happen in the future, there's no evidence that he thought that it was going to happen in a particular time. So it's just kind of, while it might be a topic of like more apocalyptic type thinking and stuff, it's not necessarily indicative of when it was being written. That's the problem. A lot of people try to say, oh, hey, we can extrapolate from the talks of Jesus or talks of marriage and stuff like that, or talks about like Jesus coming back and everything like that in the text. We can extrapolate when it was written, and that's just not the course, or not the course. That's just not the case, because it's par for the course. Because people would talk a lot about things happening that just never really happened, and they will continue to talk about shit. Hell, at the same time that Christians will say, oh, hey, this talks about like, oh, you can't get married because Jesus is going to come back, or, you know, unless you really, really, really need to get married or something like that. So that indicates that it's from the first century. Cool. Well, this over here talks about like Nero, and apparently is continuing to be used, not like Revelation is talking about Nero, and it continues to be used in the Christian canon. If it was about like Nero coming back, why would they even include it? Who gives a shit? You know, so it's just, it's not really indicative of when it was written per se. It's more, or who wrote it. It just kind of highlights just how crazy and dumb these people actually were. Not dumb, I guess, but how crazy they were, because they were constantly thinking of things happening in the future and making claims, and hey, if it doesn't come to pass, we'll just kind of change it, tweak it, and move the goalpost. I mean, Christians today still think that Jesus is coming back, and when it doesn't happen, they say, well, Jesus is coming back another time. Okay, when that doesn't happen, they say Jesus is coming back another time. So they just keep doing that. So what's stopping them from doing the same thing?
Yeah, like that's like my thing. Like I just want to know when it started. This Jesus coming back soon, like dogma or like idea. Like, is it from this letter or like something else? What I'm not seeing? Like,
I would encourage you to read the earliest iterations of Paul's letters, most notably 1 Corinthians, or especially 1 Corinthians. They're within the reconstructions that scholar Jason Badoon does, because that will help, and definitely read the footnotes as well, like the notes on it, the text notes on it. That way you can get an understanding as to like what we have a very good indication of actually being in the earliest iterations of Paul's letters, because you want to make sure that it even includes those parts that might allude to the idea that Jesus might be coming back. So you want to make sure that if you're reading Paul's letters and you're trying to figure out whether or not Paul existed or whether or not this was a concept or whatever, check out the earliest iterations of them first. Because if you might be reading something that was added later to Paul's letters, in which case it doesn't really matter. It's just some later thing that they put in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I would highly recommend that. The book that I utilize quite a bit for these reconstructions is Jason Badoon's The First New Testament. I would highly recommend that.
The First New Testament. Okay.
The First New Testament. Yeah. I don't know if I've got it pulled up. Yeah, I do. This is the book right here, The First New Testament from Jason Badoon. This is a really good book that's going to give you an idea as to what the earliest versions of Paul's letters, as presented by Marcion in 144, actually had in them, and what we can be really sure of or what we can't really be sure of, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Okay, good luck then.
All right, thanks. Thanks for coming out, man. Thanks. And then, again, if you're over on YouTube and you think, oh, hey, I need to go up and tell that cowboy off, either request up the link to come over on TikTok, because on TikTok is how I take guests. The link should be provided there in the chat or on the YouTube profile, or you can send a super chat and I will read it. Let's see. There is a... Oh, sorry. It sounds like you got an echo there. Okay. The guest who requested up, you can request up again, but it sounded like you were on like a weird... You had a bit of an echo for some reason. I don't know why. But on YouTube, there is a super chat, $5 there. Thank you very much. From Blacksmith GT says, if I'm Jesus, first thing I'm doing is info dumping about how my dad made dinosaurs. I don't know why that never came up. Yeah, it is rather strange, the lack of information that Jesus gives if he's actually God. Like, he doesn't tell us like how to like make penicillin. He doesn't tell us anything about how to like not spread germs. Like, doesn't say anything about how like, hey, you know what? other races, women, and gay people are actually people. Who'd have thunk it? Like, he doesn't say anything about it.
Like, if you were going to be stranded on a desert island and you needed one book to help you survive, would you pick the Bible? Would you pick the Bible to help you survive on the island?
Not at all.
I'd pick a Girl Scout manual before I would pick that, okay?
Girl Scout manual, yes. That's a good point. Jesus doesn't give you any like tips on how to actually survive. Hey, well, at least I got this Bible. I guess I'll just go ahead and plant this stake here and paint some stripes on it, and maybe these goats will have spotted babies. like what? Like, okay, cool. Like,
what?
Even the advice it does give is terrible. Speaking of terrible advice,
over your own dung.
Yeah. Well, I was going to, but since I brought along this Bible, I guess I won't cook this baby goat in his mother's milk. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking.
No, it's crazy.
I don't have a fire or a shelter, but I know how to cook a baby goat. Or how not to cook a baby goat, I guess. All right. Speaking of good information to take with you, I would take the Onion newspaper, by the way. I actually subscribed to the Onion newspaper not long ago, and my first issue actually came in. It's so weird getting the actual paper in the mail.
That would be cool.
It is.
That is really cool.
Yeah. I did see a giant ad for Walmart on the back, and I thought that was an ad, but it's not. It's definitely not.
You know, Jaron, people might not know this. So, for a lot of you youngins out there, back in my day, we used to read something like that instead of using our phones to get the news. We would sit around the table sipping our coffee, and instead of scrolling, we would read a piece of paper.
So on
Or
page
pretend. We actually pretended. Most of the time, we were not reading it, actually.
on page 3, you have unique flavors of at-risk wildlife enjoyed at cookout. Guests said they couldn't get enough of the now extinct Maui dolphin's mouth-watering flipper meat. Oh my god. What? Who comes up with this shit? So ridiculous. Oh my god. All right. We'll set that over to the side. Okay. Let's see. We have somebody else who's wanting to come up, it looks like.
Oh, yes, no way you said the Bible gives horrible advice. No way you said that.
Yep. Sure does.
No way, dog.
Yep.
No, what makes you say that?
Do you think that's a good idea to cook your food over your shit?
What are you talking about?
Crystal?
Yeah, the Bible does tell is it Ezekiel? Is it Ezekiel, y'all? To cook his food over his shit. And then he goes, like he didn't want to do that. And so God said, okay, you don't have to do it over your own shit. Instead, you could do it over like some animal shit instead. And yes, he does tell
Bro,
me.
y'all read this stuff out of context. Like,
what context is animal shit?
A lot of, like if you like that's no like some things take common sense.
To have food cooked over shit, dude. There's no context the world that's gonna make that cool for me, okay?
Yeah, that's not cool for anybody. I mean, like,
yeah. So when it talks about it in the Bible, what context are you requiring that makes it okay?
No, bro. No way you know, bro. There's no way you just said that.
What context?
No, like for anybody that's disgusting. I mean, like that takes common sense. Cooking food over dookie, nigga. Like, what is that?
That's what I'm saying.
Hell nah, but like it's a whole book. Like, if that's all you got from the Bible, that's crazy.
What?
That's the only message you picked up from that book. That's wild. I don't know.
No, we're saying that it had bad information, and you said that it doesn't have bad advice. And then you asked for an example.
If you the whole book, like what you just
no, you literally just asked for an example of bad advice, and we gave it to you. You didn't say does the whole.
As someone
book
who reads it, that shit is not like it's not what it is.
You don't read it. You didn't even know that story was there. Don't pretend that you read the Bible now, okay? Don't do that.
I ain't pretending
right
nothing.
here it says the food that you eat shall be
20.
The food that you eat shall be 20 shekels a day by weight. At fixed times you shall eat it, and you shall drink water by measure.
Read the full chapter.
That's what I'm reading. 1/6 of a hin. At fixed times you shall drink. Listen, well, I'm not reading one verse. I'm not reading one verse. Okay, look. You know what? Fine. It's a huge thing. It's telling you how to cook food. Put siege works against it, build a siege wall against it. Battering rams. This is not about the food. This is guilt for Israel. It's still not about food.
He's torturing this
the
prophet,
food. Here we go.
Actually.
Yeah,
he's torturing a prophet right now.
Yeah, and you take wheat and barley, beans and lentils, millet and spelt, put them into one vessel, and make bread for yourself during the number of days that you lie on your side. 390 days you shall eat it. The food that you eat shall be 20 shekels a day by weight. At fixed times you shall eat it, and you shall drink water by measure. 1/6 of a hin. At fixed times you shall drink. You shall eat it as barley cake, baking it in their sight on human dung. End quote. Bad advice, if you ask me. I mean, I think it's bad advice.
Hell no, bro. You got to read more than that verse.
Cool. All right.
Why?
So why? Yeah. what
They
context
give
makes
way
that
better
better?
advice.
Well,
Like
I'm putting on.
that's my
I
whole
don't
weight
need
point,
any
bro.
God.
So do
Any
you
God
think that
who's
that's
going to
bad
tell
advice?
me
Go
to
read the
cook my
Psalms. Go
food
read the
over my
Psalms,
food.
bro.
So
I don't need
Javar,
that.
Javar, is that bad advice to eat food over human dung? Is that bad advice?
Yes, bro.
All right.
That's
Well,
bro.
there it is. You asked for bad advice that the Bible gives, and we gave it, and you admitted that it was in there. Thanks for coming up. Trevi Trev on TikTok says, "Oh shit, I can't explain that shit away."
I love it that they cry context for that. What?
On YouTube, super chat $4.99. Thank you very much. From the Manatee 890 says, "Can you read the passage about the guy with the with the horse cock and the emissions of a donkey?" So it's not about a person. It's saying that like Israel. It's like using this like explanation. It's saying Israel lusted after other things, like
Don't we all?
yeah. It's not saying a person has it. That'd be insane. But it's like a weird metaphor talking about how Israel wanted the wrong thing, I guess, and apparently wanting a Johnson the size of a horse and emissions the bulk of a donkey's is a bad thing. So I mean, fuck me, right? Or better yet, don't. Apparently. Anyways, for the boys, what you got?
Hey guys, how you doing? I just wanted to comment just shortly on what you said previously about the passage from that you were reading from the dung. It's not like advice per se. That was a specific example of what God wanted to show, like the people, what was gonna happen, like what the state of life was gonna be, what food they were gonna be left with if they didn't listen to him.
Wait, are you talking
It's not
about
like advice for the general
Wait, are
population.
you talking about in Ezekiel? When he's
Yeah.
eating the food? No, it's not. He's punishing
Yes, it is.
Ezekiel. No, it's not. He's punishing Ezekiel. You don't even know the story.
I mean, you don't know the story.
No,
clearly.
you don't.
You
It's
don't.
not about, he's telling him to do it. It's a man. He has to do that.
I know. It's the prophet.
Yeah,
To
he's
set an
not
example.
telling him that that's what's going to happen. He tells him, do it.
I know,
Do
but
it
it's
right
not
now.
like an advice for the general population. You're acting.
Nobody said it was.
You're
We
saying
said that it was
advice in
Yeah,
general.
we weren't saying it was
Ezekiel.
like for everyone. We never said
I mean,
that.
you said advice, man. When you
Yeah,
say, yeah,
it's-
you want
it's
some
an
advice, that's
instruction.
good advice for you. You're taking a specific situation and taking it out of context.
Do you
But
think
that's
that
not
the
what I wanna
advice
talk
that you
about.
give your mom is best for everyone on the planet?
I mean, you're taking it like that.
I mean,
By
if
saying-
you give your mom an advice over, like, I don't know, something that she's dealing with at work, do you think that that's the best advice for everyone on the planet?
Bro, you're saying right now.
No,
you
just
wanted
because
some
it's
advice
something
from the
that one
Bible,
person should do
there's
doesn't
some
mean it's for
advice.
everyone. That's not how we
So
didn't
why are you
insinuate that at
saying-
all.
Why are you
Listen,
saying so?
I
There's some
think
good
you don't
advice.
understand. Wait, I think I can help you out, okay? I want you to understand this right now, okay? Somebody somewhere along the way told Jaren wearing a cowboy hat was cool, but it was bad advice, okay? And it doesn't mean it's for everybody. It was just bad advice in general.
I said,
And we were saying-
bitch.
Oh, okay, you're saying bad advice in general. All right, but this is a specific
Yeah,
situation.
that's all we were saying. That's all we were saying.
Okay. And if you
Jaren,
guys
I
want
love you,
good
and I love your
advice,
cowboy hat. I'm
just check
I'm
Proverbs,
playing.
guys. If you want good advice, just check Proverbs, all right? But I didn't want to talk about
it
it.
says that a dog will return to his vomit. That's a really, yes, you're right. Proverbs has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that it says before, like a fool that returns to his foolishness, like a dog that returns to his vomit. You
Right,
gotta,
just like you're
yeah,
doing
don't
right
take it
now.
out of context.
Yeah,
Come on.
you're just returning to your vomit.
I mean, it's good advice.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Did I hear you besmirch the hat?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted.
Jared, I love your hat.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying.
I was muted.
just saying, Jared.
I
Jared,
was
just
here
saying.
yesterday, guys.
For the boys, I liked you better when you were muted. So, anyways, Crystal, What was that line
Jared,
about?
I love the hat. I love the hat. I love the hat. It was just a joke. It was just a joke.
Right, guys. I just want to talk about
But it
what I
made
was
him
mentioning yesterday.
understand. It made him understand the point, you know.
It
helped.
may have. It may have.
Can I talk about yesterday?
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah.
Anyways, so it may have driven home the point, Crystal. However,
you know I actually like the hat. Okay, I actually like the hat. Okay.
anyways, go ahead.
Okay, I'm
for the
sorry.
boys, what you got?
All right. Yeah. Like, just talking about the points yesterday. You guys made some good points that I didn't hear before, so I made a little bit of research on it. Like, firstly, I would like to talk about Luke. You were, like, I wanted to give Luke as an example of, like, some historical evidence.
Okay.
And you guys went to, like, Luke 3:1.
Yeah, you want to use Luke as historical? Good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah. Remember the conversation from yesterday? You guys went to Luke 3:1 to show me that, yeah, that guy wasn't there, that the timeline is wrong. But that, I mean, your argument has been debunked.
My argument has been debunked?
Yeah.
Okay. How? And he immediately hops off the app. All right. There's a super chat, 10 pounds. Thank you very much.
Yo. I'm still here.
Yeah, I know, but you hopped off the app, so now I'm moving on to something else, and I'll come back to you in a second. Don King 5572 says, with respect, Benjamin White, using same software means nothing. Methodology is what matters. Yeah, he uses the same methodology. For example, he used most frequent words. Range. That's what we did. We explained it. Versus your fixed MFW. Every run would have a specific number. Arranged, that doesn't make any sense. What you're talking about isn't a thing. So arranged just means that he ran different MFWs, and we ran different MFWs. We explained that we did. So we do use a range. So it's the same methodology. Congratulations, you don't know shit. He used a larger corpus. No, he didn't. The total corpus that we use is the largest that has ever been ran with stellometry, because we include people outside of the Bible. Everything we can get our hands on in Greek from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd century CE and the 1st century BCE. So no, he didn't. Also, he is not a mythicist. Cool. I never said he was. And he just focuses more primarily on like Paul's letters and whatnot. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about as far as like mythicism goes. So I didn't claim that he was, and you don't understand most frequently used words, and we did the same methodology. Congratulations. You just kind of wasted 10 pounds. All right, for the boys, back to you.
Yeah, right. About Licinius, the ruler of that region. I mean, you guys were talking about a different guy. Because Licinius, you said that never existed. It's a different one. I mean, there has been research that has come out.
There is no Licinius who was the Tetrarch of Abilene in the middle of the 1st century. Nope.
There is.
There's no evidence whatsoever of a Licinius in the middle of the 1st century who's a Tetrarch of Abilene. That is incorrect.
Bro, there is.
Nope.
There is. I can give you the proof.
True. What evidence?
They did some... Okay. So, a few years ago, they did some digging around the same region, and they did find out that there was a person named Licinius that was the ruler of that location. Also,
where
Josephus mentions
what
Licinius.
Is this? What are you referring to?
Okay, let me get the exact thing for you, because I have it on my phone, but I mean, apparently if I hop to the Google, it disconnects me from the app, so that's a problem. So let me look for it on my computer. 1 second. I mean, we can focus on the other part that Josephus mentioned Licinius as well.
Okay, and what does Josephus say about him?
He says that he was the tetrarch of that region. Okay. And here you go. Archaeological excavations in the region of Abilene uncovered an important Greek temple inscription. This inscription dates to the early 1st century and explicitly identifies
and
Licinius
how did they date it?
As the tetrarch of Abilene.
How did they date it?
Okay, let me ask. How did they date it.
Yep. So the issue is the fact that they are trying to figure out whether or not a particular word means, or a nickname for somebody was a nickname that was used in the first century or
Right.
first century BCE. And Christians try to say that it's from the first century so that they can make this Lysanias work. Unfortunately, the only evidence that we have outside of this that we can actually try to date, that actually tries to give a date, is Josephus. And Josephus says in the Jewish war that Lysanias offered the Parthian satrap Barsophanes 1,000 talents and 500 women to bring Antigonus back and raise him to the throne after disposing Hyrcanus. Though in his later work, The Jewish Antiquities, he says the offer was made by Antigonus. Either way, in 33 BCE, Lysanias was put to death by Mark Antony for his Parthian sympathies, because he's tying him in with an event that happened in the first century BCE. The only real way that we have any kind of date for him, like definitively, is from Josephus, who places him in the first century. And so he dies in 33 BCE. We do not have any evidence whatsoever, other than Christians really, really wanting it to be just something that's placing him in the first century. We don't have anything that does that. What you're talking about is the inscription that it just really kind of depends on the like a word for a woman's name. There's a Livia that's mentioned, and that's supposed to be the mother of Tiberius or something. And so while Livia received suitable honors while Augustus was still alive, such as benefactor goddess at a temple of Thasos, she was not called Augusta until after Augustus's death and her adoption into the Juliagans in AD 14. So they're trying to use a nickname to try to date this, and there's just not really any good evidence that it's from the first century.
That's not the only thing that they're using.
Yeah, there's no other way that this dates to the first century CE as opposed to the first century BCE.
What do you mean, dude? You can deduce from the inscriptions and from the style that it has, the specific shape, style, and carving technique of the Greek letters on the stone match the early first century AD Roman era craftsmanship, not first century BC Hellenistic styles.
So you're relying on paleography. Paleography, even as explained by the University of Manchester, is not an exact science and is considered last resort. In no way, shape, or form can we really date to something too terribly well using paleography. That's actually how we ended up with like P52 moving from like 100 to 200.
All right,
because of paleography.
This inscription states the temple was built by Nymphaeus, a freedman of Lysanias. If Nymphaeus was freedman of the older Lysanias, who died in 36 BC, he would have been well over 100 years old to build a temple during Tiberius' reign.
Okay.
So, that sounds more like Lysanias II. Like it's still more contemporary one.
No, not necessarily. In fact, even if this did date to between 14 and 29, when Tiberius was actually reigning, that still wouldn't really mean anything. That would just mean that somebody who was alive in 14 was somebody who was alive after Lysanias dies in 33 BCE. So
Okay.
like 40 years prior.
Last argument. So regarding the title argument, like king versus tetrarch, like Lysanias I was a powerful monarch, so they label him like king or high priest. So the second was a minor, like regional governor, so they gave him the lesser title of tetrarch. So somebody who's fabricating history wouldn't like downgrade a famous king to just a lesser title.
I don't even know what you're
unless
talking
it was
about
a different person.
What are you talking about?
Like somebody that's fabricating a
Lysanias
story.
is not a king. He's not considered a king.
Lysanias I was a powerful monarch.
No.
What do you mean?
Where are you getting the idea of a powerful monarch?
Okay, dude.
Lysanias is he's a ruler of a tetrarchy, so he wouldn't be a monarch.
Lysanias II is the ruler of a tetrarchy.
I don't give a shit. The Lysanias that's mentioned there as a tetrarch of Abilene, any other one named Lysanias wouldn't be over Abilene.
Okay, here we go. Extent of his power. Unlike his descendant, who ruled a small, restricted district of Abilene, Lysanias I inherited a large empire from his father, Ptolemy, son of Menes.
Yeah, that's not this. The father of Lysanias was Ptolemy, son of Menes, who ruled the tetrarchy before him. So he's not a monarch. He's a tetrarch. It's literally a different arc. It's a different type of ruler.
It's a different area. It's a bigger area. It's not just Abilene.
Sweet. He's still not a monarch, and he's still not over Abilene unless he's the guy who dies in the first century BCE. And what you're referring to and the information you're giving is somebody who existed in the first century.
That's subjective. Like different regions give different titles to the rulers.
Well, unfortunately, Ptolemy is someone who reigned from about 85 to 40 BCE. So if this is the son of that guy, then he's not in the 1st century CE. What are you talking about?
Okay. The imperial title king. Despite his regional coin title, Roman records show that Mark Antony formally elevated Licinius I to the rank of king.
Cool. And Mark Antony existed when? Because he dies in 30 BCE. Congratulations,
Okay,
you're
look.
digging your grave deeper.
No, I'm not digging, like, at least in my
So Mark
opinion, I'm not
Antony
digging
deals with
anything.
this Lysanias, and Mark Antony dies in 30 BCE? Yeah, sounds like a 1st
bro,
century guy.
I gave you like a few methods of how we would manage to like.
Yeah, you
come up
mentioned
with-
Mark Antony dealing with him, and Mark Antony dies in 30 BCE. So if Mark Antony is dealing with this Lysanias, do you think he's ruler in the 1st century? 60 years later?
All right, dude. I mean, I gave you a lot of.
It's so bad, man.
arguments.
Lysanias is just not a guy who was
It
ruling
is
over
a guy. I
Abilene
mean,
in 1st
just
century
because
CE.
you don't want to believe it, it's
You've
fine.
given literally every piece of evidence that you've given me has been something that is either easily dismissed or something that straight up proves my point.
Easily dismissed by you, dude.
Dude,
I mean,
you
okay,
mentioned Mark Antony.
Let's stop
Did
stop
Mark
talking
Antony
about
deal with
Licinius, like-
Lysanias? Did Mark Antony deal with Lysanias? Yes or no?
Bro, did we
yes
deal
or no?
with
Did Mark Antony deal with Lysanias?
No. Did you deal with
No.
like?
So then
I
why
don't
did
know,
you bring
Alexander the Great?
Then why did you
No.
bring? Okay, no. We're not even talking about this. Why did you bring up Mark Antony if he didn't have anything to do with Lysanias?
Because Roman records show that he elevated him to the
Okay,
title of
so
king.
in other words, Mark Antony does have some kind of dealing with Lysanias, correct?
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Take a look at the screen. Mark Antony dies in 30 BCE, you dumb piece of shit. So yeah, if Mark Antony elevated him to the tetrarch, then it wouldn't make any sense that he became a tetrarch in the 1st century. That doesn't make any sense. It almost
What are you
lines up
talking about, dude?
perfectly with the guy who Josephus talks about dying in 33 BCE. It's almost as if this is all
what are you
talking about
talking
one
about?
guy,
Like,
and Luke is just
when-
wrong.
When do you think Licinius the First? I mean, was around what timeline do you think he was around?
Lysanias would have been about, 40 to 36 BCE is when he reigned. He dies in 33 BCE.
Okay, when was Mark Antony's Eastern campaign?
He dies in 30. So it doesn't matter when his campaign was. Because there's no chance that Lysanias you're talking about is somehow in the 1st century if Mark Antony has anything to do with him. It doesn't matter when his campaign is. You're trying to nitpick the small details when there's a complete and total century between what you're trying to prove and what you're saying.
I mean,
I don't think you understand how the years work. Do you realize that BCE works backwards?
I think that you're.
Do you realize that BCE works backwards?
I know, but I mean.
Okay. Well, then
like,
before
the record
30
was found around. Okay,
if
go ahead, I'm
Mark
sorry.
Antony dies in 30 BCE, then his Eastern campaign is before 30, which would mean a higher number than 30. And if Lysanias becomes the tetrarch in 40, that is a higher number than 30. It's about 10 years before the death of Mark Antony.
Okay.
In fact, the Battle of Philippi, let's see here. Battle of Philippi, as ruler of the East, Antony also assumed responsibility for overseeing Caesar's planned invasion of Parthia to avenge the defeat of Marcius Linnæus Crassus at the Battle of Carthae in 53. In 42 BCE, the Roman East was composed of several. So literally 2 years before Lysanias is the tetrarch, becomes the tetrarch, is when Mark Antony was dealing with the East. It's almost as if you're arguing against something you're never going to be able to prove anything against. You're arguing for me.
Okay. Dude, I don't know where you're getting your information from.
This would
Like,
be,
honestly.
let's see. This would be from scholar Bivar in his 1968 work, pages 56 through 57, and then scholar Hinard in his 2000 work, and then also Cassius Dio.
Okay, let me give you my argument.
Let's go ahead and just assume that you have no idea what you're talking about and move to Jesus and Paul. Do you have any evidence that Jesus or Paul existed? Because that's the main topic of this live. You've been...
No, of course, like, I would love to move forward from this topic.
Well, then
but
go
I mean,
ahead.
Let's
talk about Jesus and Paul. Do you have any evidence that Jesus or Paul existed?
Yeah, I want to make one of my points, like using Luke, but if you don't want to accept Luke because of that one...
That's not the only reason that we don't accept Luke, but please continue.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, I can give you other reasons why we can accept it, like based on
so what do you
based
got?
on geographical evidence, like somebody that is writing about stuff that happened in a specific geographical location, like can't get details. For example,
like
they
Luke says
down...
that Jesus is from what city?
I mean, if you want to interrupt me and go ahead on a tangent, that's fine. But
well, you said geographical locations in Luke. I don't
yeah,
care
and I was
if he
about
has
to give you an
geographical.
example, dude.
Then hurry up and land the plane. What geographical stuff do we have in Luke?
Okay,
Stop
for
beating around the
example,
bush
like
and just
when they're
give it.
saying, okay, for example, when they're saying that Jesus is coming down from Jerusalem to Jericho, so it's like the elevation in that particular place is really high. It's only 17 miles long, like far. And the change of an elevation is huge. So somebody that doesn't live in that location couldn't possibly know how one city is so much higher than another one. So things like geographically make a lot of sense. Also biologically, like for example, the story
I'm not saying anything. I've never said anything about that. You're just kind of pointing to random shit. Who cares?
It's not random, dude. I mean,
okay,
if it's
cool.
fake,
That doesn't
then people
prove
don't
that it
get those
actually
things
happened.
right.
What are you talking about? Like, I can say that someone comes down from, like, I don't know, Quito to, like, Esmeraldas over in Ecuador or something, because I know Quito's on a mountain. But that doesn't... Okay, cool. That doesn't mean that I'm writing any story about a real person.
But how, I mean, how do you know that? Because you have the internet. People back then didn't have the
Because I have
internet.
a map. There's maps, dude. People back then...
Yeah, back
guess
then
what?
people were
they
illiterate.
Had maps.
They didn't have that stuff.
What?
You're
you think the
acting like
person
people
who
had
wrote the Gospel
access
of
to all
Luke
this
was illiterate? You think the person who wrote the Gospel of Luke was illiterate?
I'm not
Is that what
talking
you're
about
arguing?
Luke. I'm talking about the general population.
Well,
dude.
I don't give a shit about the general population. We're
What are
explicitly
you
talking about Luke
you're,
being.
You're part of
you
the
were
general
saying
population.
that Luke. You were
you're
saying
that you know
okay.
that Quito,
All right.
Esmeraldas. I don't know.
Shut the fuck up, dude. You tried to say that Luke is giving this geography correct, and I said, "Hey, cool, yeah." On a map, we can tell that something is on a mountain versus something else. It's not that hard, dude. And then you tried to say that the general population wouldn't know that. I don't give a shit about what the general population cares about or knows. I don't give a shit. You're talking about Luke and trying to say that it is historically reliable because of geography. And all I'm saying is that somebody who is capable of writing Luke would probably be capable of reading a map.
Okay.
Great. Now, that being said, where on this map is Nazareth? Because that's not on any maps. In fact, we don't have any evidence that Nazareth was even a place that was inhabited at the beginning of the 1st century. So it's not a matter of like how many times something gets the geography right. Because hell...
You mean like secularly, right?
No, even within Christianity.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
In the Gospels, it mentions Nazareth.
Fantastic. It mentions Nazareth as a place that is explicitly mentioned in the Old Testament by the prophets. And that's bullshit too. So I don't care. That being said, whenever we talk about like whether or not something is historically accurate, it doesn't matter how many times it gets things right. It's a matter of how many times it gets things wrong. London exists in England, which is where it's at, and that's presented in Harry Potter. That doesn't mean that Harry Potter is right. Whenever Harry Potter talks about places that don't exist, like Hogwarts, that's where we know that it's wrong. That's how we know that it's fiction. I don't give a
so
shit
I
about
just
whether or
wanna.
not Jerusalem is higher up in elevation than Jericho or something, and your definition of the word down means something other than whatever. I don't care. Even if it got that right, fan-fucking-tastic. It's the fact that it's getting things wrong when it talks about other things. And that's how we know that while, yeah, someone might be able to read a map and just come up with something, they're also writing about things that aren't historically accurate and aren't on said maps, like Hogwarts or Nazareth, because Nazareth isn't on maps.
Okay, so I just want to understand. So you're saying that because you say, how does Paul and how does Jesus appear in other somewhere else in history other than Christianity? So you want something that is not in Christianity, so to point out, like, to give evidence, right?
I would like evidence that Nazareth is a place at the beginning of the first century, because you're saying that it's getting the geography right. Prove it.
Okay, right. So, I mean, the letters in themselves, like the Gospels, give you like information, like I just gave you. If you don't want to accept it, it's fine. But like,
What letter of Paul or anybody says anything about Nazareth?
Bro, just read the Gospels.
Okay, those aren't letters, and also they are getting things wrong. That's literally what we're trying to prove is right or wrong, and you're just saying read the definition.
I'm giving you
that's circular information.
examples.
The evidence for the Gospels is the Gospels. The evidence that the Gospels are correct are the Gospels. There's nothing outside of it to show that it's real. I mean, what's the evidence for Hogwarts? Why don't you just read Harry Potter and see that Hogwarts exists?
Why are you even asking me this? Like,
No,
what
think
is
about
the
it. Think
method
about it.
what is the method that
You were trying
historians
to
use?
say, this is like you trying to say that the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is correct when it talks about Hogwarts. And I'm saying, well, where's the evidence of it? And you're like, well, just read the books. Okay, well, that has nothing to do with it.
Like, what type of method do you think people use to try to find out if ancient texts are correct or not?
Trying to compare it to what contemporaries of the time we're talking about, or archaeology that we can find, and we don't have any contemporaries talking about Nazareth. In fact, Josephus, who's born in Galilee in 37, was a governor of Galilee from I believe it's like 66 or so, 66, 67, and on top of that, was a general in the First Jewish-Roman War, and he's getting people from different places to fight in said war. He talks about the town that's next to Nazareth in multiple books, multiple times. Never mentions anything remotely close to Nazareth. So we don't have any contemporary talking about Nazareth. We don't have any maps. We don't have any archaeology that shows that anybody existed there in the beginning of the first century. So where is your evidence that the Gospels are correct when talking about it?
I mean, if you like you were saying, if we cross-reference documents with different other things,
like
I know, for example, I know you don't like this, you don't accept it, like geographical evidence, botanical evidence, and other type of stuff. But I mean,
so
you
where's
don't care
your
about
evidence
it,
of
so
Nazareth? You're just saying words. Give me the evidence for Nazareth. Land the plane.
I won't even I'll just make my point, okay?
Where's the evidence for Nazareth?
Just like ancient history.
Where is the evidence for Nazareth?
I'm trying to explain
Nazareth
why
is Hogwarts.
Okay.
Where's the evidence of Hogwarts or Nazareth? And if you just say the books, that's not going to get you anywhere.
So, I mean, by your logic, you're saying that people will mention every other city that ever existed in
It's almost
previous
as
history?
if literally everyone who was alive in the 80s and the 90s was capable of telling us about all the towns in London, or all the towns in England, my bad.
80s and 90s, dude. How are you comparing 2,000 years ago?
Listen. Except for Hogwarts. And it's almost as if everyone in the first century who gives us names of cities around that area, Judea, Galilee, Syria, gives us names of all these places except for Nazareth. That's really weird.
Like, are you listening to yourself? You're comparing the 80s and 90s with 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, because they're both fiction.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I
Do
mean,
you have any evidence that Nazareth is a real place?
I think you're not really like genuine.
Cool.
I think you're a little bit biased.
Genuinely give me the evidence for Nazareth.
Okay, just let me make my point. Like, people
genuinely give me the evidence for Nazareth. I'm not going to let you pivot. This is where you're at now. Give me the evidence for Nazareth,
Bro,
because you said that the Gospels.
About to answer.
You said that the Gospels are historical, and we can trust them historically because of geography. And this is a massive flaw in the geography. We can't trust Harry Potter because it talks about London. We can't trust the Amazing Spider-Man comics because it talks about New York City.
Bro, okay, let me answer your question.
We're gonna have to deal with the errors that it makes.
Okay, let me answer your question. The lack of evidence isn't evidence. Look, the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence.
Unless evidence is expected. And considering the fact that not only does Matthew say that Nazareth is part of a prophecy as to where the Messiah would be coming from, on top of that, multiple people talk shit about it in the Gospels. They say what good can come from Nazareth, even some of the disciples. So apparently it's some place that's actually like known. And apparently it has enough men to mob Jesus, a cliff to throw him off of, and a synagogue that he reads from the Septuagint in. That crowds and everything listen to him in every single synoptic gospel. So apparently this is a big city, but no one mentions it.
Big city?
Yes,
I mean, I
it
wouldn't
has
go
a
that
synagogue.
far as to say
it has
big
a
city.
synagogue.
Okay, so every town with a synagogue is now a big city?
It's pretty big. If people know about it, it's part of
wow.
it's part of a prophecy, and it has enough men to mob Jesus and a synagogue.
Dude, I can't wait to get a synagogue in my city, in my little shitty city, to be able to call myself a big city. Holy shit. I didn't know that was all the prerequisites.
You might want to check because you may actually have a synagogue in your town. But that being said, what is your evidence for Nazareth? What is your evidence from Nazareth?
Okay, like I said, the
what is your evidence for
evidence
Nazareth?
is not evidence in itself.
Unless evidence is expected. There's no
There
evidence for
is
George
more
Washington in the
evidence.
2nd century.
There is more evidence about
There's-
Jesus.
No,
Just
there's
because
not.
it doesn't
Where's your
mention the
evidence for
city
Nazareth?
doesn't mean he doesn't
Sweet.
exist.
So I'm not going to let up on this. You're either going to have to drop, or you're going to just keep bringing up random shit and you're going to end up getting blocked, or you will provide evidence for Nazareth because you tried to say that we can use the geography of the Gospels to prove their historicity. So
Bro,
please,
look.
show
First
me
of
the
all,
evidence for Nazareth.
I don't mean getting blocked. Like, I'm here to find out for
Okay.
myself if what
No,
I
you're
believe
not.
in is
You're
right
here.
or
You're
not.
here to defend something that is bullshit, and you know that you don't have anything, but you won't admit it because you're too full of pride. Which, by the way, happy Pride, everybody. That being said, this pride is misplaced. Do you have any evidence for Nazareth? Yes or no?
Bro, I'm not.
Nope. It's just a yes or no answer.
Other things are mentioned.
All
Other
right,
important.
we're going to try one more time. If you do not answer with a yes or a no, stay muted until I'm done asking the question, please. If you do not answer immediately with a yes or a no, you will be blocked. Do you have, right now, any evidence for Nazareth? Yes or no? Go ahead.
For Nazareth, no. For other things, yes.
Sweet. Do you have any evidence for Hogwarts?
Are we talking about Hogwarts?
Is there any evidence for Hogwarts? Yes or no?
Not that I know of.
Correct.
I don't really
because
read Harry
Hogwarts
Potter.
isn't real. So I don't give a shit about
Oh
how many
my
places
God.
I
Is
don't
that
give a
your
shit.
argument?
Listen, I don't give a shit about how many places around it are real. I give a shit about whether or not something that is a massive part of the story, Hogwarts and Nazareth, are actually real places. If Nazareth was just kind of a one-off thing that was just mentioned somewhere in the text, I wouldn't really give too much of a shit. I really wouldn't. I mean, I'm not over here like explaining that like, oh, Arimathea is not a real place. I mean, Arimathea isn't a real place, and it's definitely a tie-in with Josephus, but we're not even there yet. We're still dealing with the fact that there is a very clear name of a city that keeps popping up in these texts that isn't real. That's a really bad thing. So I don't care about the amount of evidence for other places. This is a recurring place that is not a real place. And that's really bad. The lack of evidence for Hogwarts shows us that it's a fictional story. The lack of evidence for Nazareth shows us that it's a fictional story.
Okay, can I talk?
Do you have any evidence?
I mean, so your argument is basically because I can nowhere is the city that one person lived in.
My argument, and I will state this very clearly, so please listen. You are trying to make a claim that a gospel is correct historically based off of geography, and the most repeated town or city in the entire gospel is not something you can show any evidence for. That is what I'm saying. That is bad. Like, you're pointing to the lesser known places and saying, oh, hey, this is real. Sweet. I don't care. Both Jericho and Jerusalem are mentioned in the Old Testament. I don't care. Those are real places. I'm aware that those are real places. But the main place where Jesus is literally said to be from is not even a real place that you can show evidence for. You can't use geography to say that the Gospels are correct when you can't even show that the geography of where he's from is correct.
Okay, so you're saying that we're gonna dump everything out the window.
Yep.
Just because we don't mention the name of the city that one person wasn't even born in, that only lived like
it's
at a part
of
of
a
his
prophecy.
life.
It's part of a prophecy,
Yeah.
so it's a big deal.
When he was in his ministry, he was living in another city, by the way. So he didn't live
Yeah,
there
3
all of
years
his
out
life.
of his 33 years. Sounds good, man. Sweet. So 30 years he's living in a town that we can't show any
Okay,
evidence
the guy
for,
is
and
born
it's
in
part of a
Bethlehem,
prophecy.
then moves to Egypt, then goes to Nazareth, then moves around.
No, according to
and
Luke,
just
he doesn't
because-
go to Egypt. According to Luke, we'll actually show you this because this is another piece that shows that this.
I mean, are we going on tangents
no,
now,
hold
or are
up,
we gonna
no,
finish
no.
our point?
You just said that he went to Egypt, and you also tried to say that Luke is historically accurate. I'm going to show you that this doesn't make any fucking sense. In Luke 2, it
And how are you
explicitly
gonna
states
prove it? With Luke.
by taking a look. Yes, that's how you
Oh, and
internally.
you're gonna prove it with
That's
something-
how you internally critique something, dipshit. So anyways, we're going to move through. So this right here says, when the 8th day came, it was time to circumcise the child, and he was called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. When the time came for their purification according to the law of Moses, this is 30 to 40 days out. This is explicitly for Mary, because she is considered unclean after the birth. All right. So when we take a look at this, it says they brought him to Jerusalem. So he's in Jerusalem. He goes from Bethlehem to Jerusalem. And then there's a whole bunch of singing and dancing. I'm not even fucking kidding. And then when it comes down here, it says, when they had finished everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. So when did they go to Egypt? You said that they went to Egypt. When did they go to Egypt? You are trying to make two things work at the same time. You said they went to Egypt, but you also said that Luke is historically accurate. So when did they go to Egypt? Go ahead, unmute. This whole time you were trying to argue that Luke was historically accurate and you tried to use geography. This is technically both. We're technically attacking Luke and geography right now. I'm letting you off the hook for the Nazareth thing right now to talk more about Luke and geography. So what do you got? Go ahead and unmute.
Am I muted?
Yep.
Hello?
You're unmuted now.
Hello?
You're unmuted.
What do you, like...
So where does
Dude,
he go to
you're
Egypt?
annoying.
Where does he go to Egypt? Yeah, I'm annoying you because of facts. You've never actually read the Bible, have you? Where in Luke does it actually say that he goes to Egypt? It says, when they had finished everything required by the law of the Lord at 30 to 40 days in Jerusalem, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth.
Letting me off the hook from Nazareth, he says.
Yep,
Dude, what
sweet.
the fuck?
So how did they go to Egypt?
Bro, they went when he was 2 years old.
Okay, so they somehow went back to Bethlehem later?
They didn't go back to Bethlehem.
Okay, well then where do they go to Egypt in Luke? You think that
dude,
after 30 to 40 days old, he went to Nazareth, and then at 2 years old, he goes back to Bethlehem?
No.
Okay, so you said they went to Egypt at 2 years old, but he goes to Nazareth at about 30 to 40 days old. So when does he go back to Bethlehem and hang out over there for the wise men to come see him, only to have to leave and go to Egypt? How does he do that?
Bro,
I mean, we're
like,
talking Luke and geography. Go ahead and make an argument, man.
I mean, you're jumping from point to point.
Yeah, I'm jumping
don't
from point to
appreciate
point
it.
in Luke about the geography and showing you that your argument is dog shit.
Yeah,
You
but
should
like,
feel like
why
dog
did we
shit for
skip
even bringing it
Nazareth?
up. So, how did you do it?
Why do we skip Nazareth, though?
Oh, we're still in Nazareth, technically.
We're not.
He goes to Nazareth right here. So how did he go to Egypt first?
Why
How did he
are
do
we
that?
skipping the Nazareth argument?
You said you didn't have any evidence for Nazareth, so I was actually letting
I
you
mean,
off the
you
hook.
don't have any evidence either. You're just saying because
Correct,
it's
because
not
Nazareth
mentioned.
didn't exist. That's how that works.
you're saying it doesn't exist because it wasn't mentioned, dude.
That being said, how does he
It's
go
not a
to Egypt?
contradiction.
How does he go to Egypt?
Like, dude,
How does he go to Egypt?
Honestly, I thought I was gonna earn something from this conversation.
Yeah,
This is
sweet.
just
That's
a waste
because
of time.
that's because you're a dumb piece of shit who actually can't listen.
No,
How does
dude,
he go
you
to
think
Egypt?
something doesn't exist because it's not mentioned.
Cool. How does he go to Egypt?
99% of humanity doesn't exist because nobody was recorded by the Roman elite.
Sweet.
Only
How does he
people
go to
in
Egypt?
power.
How does he go to Egypt?
So, like, why would?
How does he go
Just
to
to answer,
Egypt?
like, Jesus and Paul never existed.
Cool.
Just
How does he
because
go to
Roman
Egypt?
elites don't.
All right, you muted. I'm asking you a question. Answer it. How does he go to Egypt when this says that they went from Jerusalem back to Galilee to their hometown of Nazareth? How does he go to Egypt here? Answer the question.
Have any? You don't even have any evidence.
Cool.
dude.
How does
Your
he go to
evidence is
Egypt?
Just lack of evidence.
How does he go to Egypt?
Walking, I suppose. Didn't have
When?
planes back then.
When?
After he got warned by the angel.
What angel? There is no angel here. He's just going back to Nazareth.
There isn't in Luke. You're just using
Oh,
your
okay.
same
So
argument again.
you think
Just
that Luke
because
is
it's not
historically
mentioned
accurate because
here,
it doesn't
it
allow for him to go
doesn't
to Egypt?
exist.
So when does he go to Egypt in Luke? When? Because he's named at 8
just
days
because
old.
it
He's
doesn't-
named and circumcised at 8 days old, and then he's presented in the temple. Jesus is presented in the temple here. They come there. The time came for purification according to the law of Moses. That's 30, 40 days
Oh
out.
my God, dude.
And then it says that they go back to Nazareth after that when they had finished.
Yo,
so where do
can
they
you
go to
bring your
Egypt?
other? Can you bring your other boy?
When do
on?
they go
Because he was
to
actually
Egypt?
better.
When do
I
they
could
go to
actually
Egypt?
learn a thing from him because your argument is basically,
We're going to try this one more time for the boys. You're a horrible representative for Jesus Christ. What is the evidence that they went to Egypt there in Luke? When did they go? When did they go?
bro, it's
When did
stated
they go?
in other gospels. Just because
Okay,
it's not
so
stated
not
in Luke, it doesn't
So
matter.
how do you fit it into the story? Where does it fit into the story in Luke? Where does it fit in?
Oh, I don't know how.
When
we
does it fit
jumped
in?
to Egypt, dude? I was just state.
All right, stop commenting on the meta. Just give me the evidence. Show me where it fits in.
I don't even know why you're mentioning Egypt, dude. I was trying to make
That's
a point
because
about Nazareth.
that's because
like,
you
he
brought
lived-
it up.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
listen. Shh. Daddy's talking. You brought it up. You said that they went to Egypt, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to let you off the hook on this Nazareth thing because you admitted that you didn't have any evidence. I was going to go ahead and just drop you because you said you didn't have any evidence, and so it wasn't going to go anywhere. But you had earlier said that geography proves the Gospel of Luke. So I'd like for you to show me the geography in Luke where he mentions going to Egypt.
Yeah, and you started to go on
Where?
a tangent
Where?
saying that.
Where does it
Where's
say?
Egypt? Like, when he?
Yeah,
go
where
to
is
Egypt?
it?
I was trying to make a point.
Where
saying
is
that
it?
Why is
Where
Nazareth
is it?
gonna be mentioned when he was
Okay.
born in Beth?
Sweet. We're going to try this one more time. If you do not answer the question, you will be blocked. And you won't be able to talk to me or to my co-author. So, where in Luke does it say that they went to Egypt? You could at least, and I will give you a way out here. I will tell you the way out. The way out is to say he doesn't because it contradicts Matthew. And that's the truth. But you're not smart enough to actually say that. You said that you were up here to try to learn something, and I just taught you something that it contradicts Matthew and doesn't line up. And I'm telling
Right,
you, if you say that, then we will move on. But if you can't say that, show me the evidence or get blocked.
Bro, I came on the wrong day. Where's your co-host?
Sounds good. Say hello to your mother for me. It's been a while since I've been with her.
What are you gonna do? Fatality?
Probably. Probably.
Where is Matt GPT anyway?
Fatality.
Matt GPT. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. He's I don't know. It's actually a good question. I think on Tuesdays he does a lot of stuff with his kid. Usually. Nicholas Graves, fatality. Darren wins. Anyways, let's see.
Finish him.
There it is.
Finish him.
Let's see. There's still comments over there on YouTube. If you have any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. And by the way, if you're on TikTok, make sure to follow Crystal J here. Crystal J.
I am nice lady. It says
Nice
so
lady.
in the Bible.
Nice lady. That's fine. You're muted. Who's saying you're muted? I'm not muted, am I?
I'm muted, but he's not muted.
I don't know. Anyways. Ashley said he went to Egypt in verse 40 1/3 right after he went to Hogwarts via station 9 3/4. That's funny. Yeah, that's how that works. The babality. I don't think they have that. Oh, they do.
Babality.
Yeah, that's pretty. I gotta keep that one. I gotta get that one. All right, that's a good idea. There you go.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it. Man. All right. If you are over on YouTube, if you want to request up, you can just hop over to TikTok and search for Christ Before Jesus. There is also a link there in the chat, a link on the profile, or if you send a super chat there on YouTube, I will read it and respond to it. That is typically reserved for people who don't want to come up on TikTok, or they don't have TikTok app or something like that. You can just put your question or put a comment there in a super chat, and I will read it out loud and respond to it. Greninja Baseball, though, on YouTube did say Luke never says they didn't go to Egypt. He simply doesn't mention it. No, you can't fit going into Egypt in there. Also, even if that guy tried to say that you could fit Egypt into that story, which you very clearly can't, I would have pointed out that the Gospel of Luke says Jesus is born during the Quirinius, the governor of Syria, which is 10 years after Matthew says he's born during the reign of King Herod. So it's pretty bad. David Okuzono says, "Why you scared, bro? Scared of what? What happened? I don't know what's going on." I have no idea what's even happening. All right.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's scared? Are we scared? Are we supposed to be scared of something?
I guess we
So
are.
far, nothing that's been presented today scares me of anything.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm just saying, not worried.
Yeah, definitely not me. Somehow, someone in the chat said I'm getting ratioed by my own book. Ratioed? What are you talking about? Are you talking about my book that has a 4.4 out of 5? That ratio? I don't think it's anything to worry about. Anyways, I guess that's what they're talking about. I guess that's what they're talking about. I don't know. The book that is currently right now, even after 2 years of being up here, is number 11 in History of Catholicism, number 24 in Jesus, Gospels, and the Acts, and number 27 in Christian history. Yeah, that book?
That book?
That book? No.
The book that I have a copy of signed by the authors?
Oh,
That
yes.
book?
Yes, she does. She does. Which, by the way, if you want a copy of the book, if you're interested at all in what I'm talking about, this is actually, I think, one of the first times that I've mentioned this today. But the ebook for Christ Before Jesus is just $3. There is a link on the bio here on TikTok. There is a link on YouTube to go check out the book. It's called Christ Before Jesus. There's a print version of the book, which is what Crystal's talking about. And there is also an audiobook version on Audible, read by me and my co-author. So if you're interested at all in checking it out, go take a look. Let's see.
Yeah, the audiobook is really cool. It's fun to have them reading it to you.
Yeah. And now an anecdote. Anyways. So, let's see. I have a New Testament signed by Jesus. Yeah, I bet you do. There is a super chat. Let me see here. Yes, there's a super chat. $4.99. Thank you very much from Tracy formerly Lanto or something. Formerly something. I think Tracy formerly Ianto or Ian to something said, "Hola, papi, dame esa salchicha." All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I don't know what to say to that. We're having fun though. We are having some fun here. So I'm glad that people on YouTube are having fun. I'm glad they are having fun.
Well, speaking of fun, I want to thank you for letting me come up today. I'm going to go ahead and make my exit here, go eat some lunch, and go record my podcast. But thank you so much. Hopefully, I can join you again before June 29th. June 29th is my birthday. Jaren's going to stop by. It's a Monday. And I'm turning 60. So you guys all should come by and say happy birthday. It's my birthday month, and you guys should come see me sometime. Also, when you get shitty people on a Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday that don't want to stay on your topic, tell them, you know what, Crystal's live. Go talk to her because she wants to hear
Go be shitty over there.
Don't be shitty to Crystal. She wants to hear your shitty stories. Okay?
Man, that sounds awful. Like, oh man, this is terrible. I can't talk to you. I'm gonna go and send you over to Crystal and have you.
Send them my way. I wanna just yell at them. Well, help me get some of my aggression out. I'll be able to cuss them out or something. Anyway, have a wonderful day, Jared.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Make sure that you are following Critically Crystal J there. She is on track to hitting 10,000 followers here on TikTok, so hopefully you guys are able to go ahead and follow her. If you are currently following her, what you do is you unfollow, and then you follow again to make it look like you started following.
True. Or you can go over to my YouTube and follow me.
Oh, yes.
I am Crystal J. All one word.
I am
J-A-E.
Crystal J. Yeah, I am Crystal J. J-A-E. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am Crystal J. There on YouTube.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Jared. Bye.
See it. All right. Let's see here. We do have another, let's say, $4.99 super chat there from from Gerd Engineer. Says, I wonder if co-host and fans will also go happily support Gertie Engineer when Thickums. All right. I wonder if co-hosts and fans will also go happily support Gertie Engineer when Thickums releases his stylo research. Oh my God. No, you can't. No. Stop. Do not refer to him as Thickums. Anyways, if you have any evidence for Juicer Paul, come on up. Otherwise, I'm going to hop off here in a couple minutes. Javar, this is your third time, so if you can't make a good point, you're going to be blocked, but I'll bring you up. Javar, what you got?
Oh, bro, give me a signed copy of the book.
A what?
A signed copy of the book.
You can get the signed copy of the book whenever it comes back in stock on TikTok Shop.
You gonna sign my book if I get one?
Well, we sell signed copies on TikTok Shop. It's just
but
not in stock at the moment.
I need you to sign mine.
Okay. Well, just wait until they're back in stock.
All right, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Sign my book.
I will, but you just got to buy the copy on TikTok Shop. It's specifically signed copies. All right. Let's see. redemption. Is there anybody else who's got any evidence for Jesus or Paul? Jesus or Paul. That's what we're looking for here. Evidence for Jesus or Paul. No? No? All right. Well then. If that's the case, thank you to anybody and everybody who stuck around longer than 30 seconds. 35-second gang, rise up. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, wait, hold up. Hold the phones. We got someone coming up here, maybe? Oh, nope, they didn't connect. So never mind. I thought they were coming up. Thought they were. Yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow at about 9 or so. I didn't cancel you. If you want to come up, you can come up. I was trying to get you to connect. Just accept the invite there. I sent you an invite. If you want to have a conversation, you can. Just hop up. Okay, there we go. All right. Is it Long Dong? Okay, what? You left. All right. Anyways. Let me close. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, so there is a super chat. There's one more super chat over there on YouTube for $2. Zeno Lepoudre says, sponsored by the Richard Carrier Race for the Cure. Actually, in reality, the actual title of that, let me see here. I think I actually should still have that somewhere. Where's that at? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. I don't have it anymore. But yeah, that is actually the, oh, there it is. The Richard Carrier Memorial Bible Trivia Night Extravaganza 2026 Race for the Cure. Yes, it was a lot of fun. And there is another game night that's coming up. We have a game night on Friday here on TikTok. It is playing Kahoot. Apparently, there's a CBJ version of Kahoot, and I got to go check it out. Whoever made that needs to send me the link so that I can actually play it. But it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. We are raising money for a good couple friends of mine and here on TikTok, and also having some fun while doing it. Playing some Kahoot. My wife will be here. Yes, my wife. Contrary to popular belief, I actually am married. I'm not wearing this ring for fun. I forget that it's even on there, really, to be honest, until I'm playing guitar. Then I'm like, oh my God. And every once in a while, I got to take it off for the purpose of playing guitar. No other purpose. Anyways, what time? It is at 6 p.m. on Friday. 6 p.m. Central on Friday. Oh, we know you're married to AZ Mike. Yeah. Okay. It looks like some people are trying to come up or something. I don't know. All right. Journal of a Human Being or something? Is that? No. Well, I thought that they were coming up, but they didn't come up. I don't know. All right. Well, that's it. All right. Well, I will see you guys later. Peace out, Girl Scout. Put me down for some Thin Mints. I will peace out here to TikTok first, and then to YouTube as well. See you guys later. Thank you very much for the super chats. Again, if you have any questions or anything like that, and you don't have the opportunity to hop over to TikTok, you can send a super chat, and I will read it out and respond. So thank you very much for stopping by.